Hey everybody, you are tuning in to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream, pre-stream. Congratulations for making it in early, and a big old congratulations to Valiant One over on YouTube for first comment of the day award. Now, here's the thing, folks. Just a reminder, you saw last episode how, we start talking about the wrong thing, and they go ahead and cut off the YouTube stream live on the air. So that's why we are always recommending, if you don't want to fall victim to that sort of YouTube shenanigans, make sure to follow us in multiple locations. That includes twitch.tv/canarycryradio, youtube.com/canarycryradio. We're also on DLIVE and all over the place. So make sure to do that. And a lot of you haven't done it yet. You need to do it. Subscribe to Canary Cry News Talk on your favorite podcast player. That's right. Just search Canary Cry News Talk, hit subscribe, and while you're at it, leave a rating and a review. Now, before we start the show today, remember, all those likes and subscribes that we get within the first 5 minutes of the show go a long way to sharing it with unsuspecting normies. So if you want to rattle some cages, that's what you're going to do. Now, remember, stay hydrated. Very important. Let's get on with the show.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News
The
Talk.
world's getting crazier.
Today is, March 29th, 2021. Everything okay over there, Guns?
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. I'll explain in a moment. Go on.
Okay. It is March 29th, 2021, and we are already, and this is like an Evergreen tanker has turned sideways in the Canary Cry Suez Canal. This is episode 317, and today, Satanists buy sneakers too. That's right, and I don't know, I'm not a sneaker, but I am your best buddy, Basil.
And I'm not a Democrat or a Republican, but
oh my gosh!
But I'm Gonz. Hi.
Wow.
Welcome to the podcast.
Down in the history books of the roughest opening we've ever had.
I'll explain it in a moment here, but welcome to the podcast where we praise Jesus while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. A couple things. One, I cut my beard. I shaved my face.
Oh my gosh.
I think that's part of the reason why we're having issues.
Look at you.
I know, I don't like it.
You're like a respectable member of society now.
I don't,
it's because of the kimono fitting, right?
Yeah, I just not into it. But wife is happy, so I guess happy wife, happy life, right?
That's right.
But I will tell her that the show started off on the wrong foot because my beard is gone.
Because
so part
of the
it.
beard, you didn't have the supernatural power that comes from a man who does not bring a razor to his face.
I was trying to explain to her the ancient connection. Only men understand this, I think, that a beard provides some kind of weird spiritual connection to the past.
It's true. You feel more powerful.
Yeah, and then all she had to say was like, "You mean all the crusty men that have lived for thousands of years with their crusty beards?" And I was like, well, can't argue about that. But
yeah, I mean, what? I don't know why crusty is automatically a bad thing. You know,
it's a question.
2021. Yeah. Stop oppressing the crusties.
Stop oppressing the crusties. Yeah. So, and the reason why everything went kind of haywire just now was because the way we operate our platform, we have a feed that goes from our Streamlabs OBS, which is where we broadcast out of. We go to Restream, which is like a stream aggregator, and Restream distributes the stream to a whole bunch of different places: Facebook, Twitch, DLive, YouTube. But recently they got rid of Periscope, and there's a whole new production media studio in Twitter. So
Yes.
I have to manually start that stream, which I see you. How many people are in there? There's like 5 people in there right now or something. Howdy. Oh, down to 3. Wonderful. But
We're tired of hearing about technical details of streaming.
Well, in order for that to work, I had to start the stream on Twitter separately from everything else. And when I did that, in my headphones, the intro song started to play back at me from the stream. And that's why I kind of freaked out and disrupted you. And sorry about that.
Again, we're continuing to fine-tune the technical process. Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing about Twitter. For those who are unaware, Twitter has kind of started encroaching on YouTube turf. They built their own sort of video backend type of thing. They're trying to build in like a YouTube into Twitter.
Yeah, they're trying to build back better.
YouTube. Yeah. All right. Well, other than that, I mean, I guess we got your fun story about shaving.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about beards. They always come back. Any other exciting news?
No, not really. That's about it. I was very disappointed in myself. I had tears rolling out of my eyes as I put the razor to my cheeks.
Yeah, but I imagine it was like a very dramatic scene in like a samurai movie where the samurai has been dishonored and must seppuku his beard off.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna compare it to losing honor and taking one's own life. But,
yeah, sorry to use that term so flippant. I'm just a white kid who watched anime for some period of my childhood.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Okay, well, I got nothing new to do, nothing new to explain, except for there is a weird smell in my in the studio here.
Fantastic.
I'm not really sure what it is. It's a little messy in here, so I tried looking around it. I think maybe the cats caught something, murdered something, and left it for me. So if I seem to float off in my own brain space or I get distracted, it's probably because it smells weird in here.
Oh, yummy.
Speaking of smelling weird, let's talk about Flippy.
Before we do, make sure to like, subscribe, and bell button, and the whole thing.
Like, subscribe, bell button, all. Like, subscribe, bell button, all.
And now we can talk about Flippy.
Okay, let's do it.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
Okay, for those who don't know, if you're new to the show, Flippy is the colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots and AI are taking over the world, and there's nothing we can do about it. Today, just a short Flippy from BC Local News, bclocalnews.com. The headline is Mushroom Picking Robot Developed in Salmon Arm Receives Government Backing. Dun, dun, dun. All right, this is a short one. A mushroom picking robot developed in Salmon Arm. That's the name of a place, apparently. Salmon Arm. I got to go to Salmon Arm. Will be one of the beneficiaries. We need a Canary crime meetup in Salmon Arm. Okay, sorry. Starting over. A mushroom picking robot developed in Salmon Arm will be one of the beneficiaries of a government grant program aimed to help agricultural technology businesses. Tech Brew Robotics was awarded a $500,000 grant as the company develops a final prototype of the harvesting robot. According to a giant grant is the word, not giant. According to the grant announcement, the harvesting robot can identify, locate, and pick mushrooms when they are ready for harvest. It states the result is increased yield and solutions for labor issues. The total value of the government grant program is $7.5 million, and it is benefiting 21 companies around the province. Other projects funded include smart barrels for wineries and wearable technology for cattle. that will allow ranchers to track their herds. Tech Brew, which is owned and operated by Mike Boudreau, has received a few other notable investments on the way to making the mushroom picking robot a reality. Tech Brew earned $50,000 through a government-funded Agritech Innovation Challenge in 2019, and more recently received backing from investors at the OKGN Angel Summit. So there you go. Flippy, not only is he flipping burgers, dancing with your spouses, all the fun and exciting things that Flippy does. Now he's picking mushrooms, Gons. So it's going to be very popular in Oregon, I think. We have a contingency, and I've learned this just through paying attention to listeners and producers on social media. We have a contingency of listeners and producers who are mushroom foragers, which I guess has been a growing activity, a growing what is the word?
Hobby, pastime, yeah.
Yeah, pastime during lockdowns, because you're basically just walking through the woods alone looking for mushrooms. And yes, most of you out there are thinking the same thing I thought, which was, oh, they're just going out there trying to get high in the forest. But it's a legit hobby, and they're not just looking for magic mushrooms. I guess it's a hobby that has a lot to do. It's very detailed. It's a very detailed hobby, Gons, because you really got to know what you're looking at. You got to inspect the mushrooms very carefully. A lot of categorization. It's actually very nerdy because, you're picking a mushroom. You don't know if you're going to get a delicious saute umami flavor, or it's going to kill you immediately, or you'll trip out for a week. You just never know with these mushrooms. But Flippy, the robot arm, is here to solve all those problems for you.
Yeah, it's mushrooms are very delicate, so this robot arm must be very sensitive to be able to pick mushrooms up.
Yes, that's the thing with Flippy. He's got a gentle touch.
Yeah, and the whole mushroom boom there, aside from the psychedelic conversation, I actually looked into it a little bit last summer as well. You can buy some kits where you gotta like disinfect like a big plastic thing.
It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. You get all this manure stuff, not manure, but just stuff to make mushrooms, and then you can grow it. It takes a lot. There's a lot of people doing some cool stuff with it.
Is not as easy as you would expect.
Yeah, and you don't get much harvest out of a little batch. You'd think you get thousands of mushrooms. You gotta have like a nice setup with a humidity containing room, and it's pretty involved. Like you said, it's kind of it's kind of nerdy.
Well, that's why they're getting the robots involved.
Oh yeah, yay! Take over everything, including making mushrooms.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Somebody's mentioning that the Evergreen ship has sunk today. Have you seen any updates?
Yeah, we have some stories about it. I know they moved it. They finally moved it off of the thing. I haven't heard it sunk, but we'll get there. And in fact, actually, we have some updates here. The first one, real quick, just briefly before we get into the other stories here. Did you hear about the Indonesian oil refinery exploding?
No.
Oh.
What would you like to do with the whole world? Burn it all.
Newshub.co.nz. Evacuations after massive explosion at Balongan oil refinery in Indramayu, Indonesia. And the footage is pretty crazy. A colossal explosion has obliterated an oil refinery in Indonesia, causing a massive fire and the evacuations of homes nearby. The blast occurred at the Balongan oil refinery in the Indramayu region in the early hours of Monday morning local time. Footage of the explosions shared on social media show a large ball of fire and thick plumes of black smoke rising into the sky. It's not clear yet what caused the blast. Space weapons. Chinese space weapons.
I was going to say, no cell phone videos of missiles hitting it yet?
Not yet, nor whether there are any injuries or fatalities. I'll show you the clip here. This one tweet. Whoa, hold on. Let's turn that down.
Wow, that sounds
It sounds
traumatic.
like from the depths of Hades.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a crazy, just flames, fire, people kind of nonchalantly walking and running around. But yeah, I mean,
now,
scary.
What has Indonesia done recently?
That's what I was trying to think.
Have they refused the New World Order? Have they ticked off China? What's the deal?
Well, I was looking into some of that, and the China-Indonesia diplomatic relationship is not great.
I wouldn't imagine.
And so there could be something along those lines, and again, very speculative. We don't know for sure. I haven't been keeping up with my Indonesian politics, so I'm not 100% on top of why this would happen.
Yeah.
But it seems to be, I mean, I don't know. It just feels like when I was growing up anyway, oil refineries and stuff didn't just blow up. This is like, what, we had that big Beirut explosion.
Day,
well, I'm just saying, stuff didn't explode.
Didn't blow up.
Okay, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
This stuff didn't. It just seems like oil refineries and nuclear plants and Beirut shoreline stuff. There wasn't as many explosions that you heard about, but I don't know, for some reason this last year, you got to build back better, Basil. You got to tear down the old to build up the new.
Yeah,
so,
well, especially with oil refineries, when you combine it with a lot of the different things going on, including the Suez Canal getting blocked, which I'm now seeing some updates, and we'll talk about that later. Especially coming from the east. So Indonesia is that group of islands right above Australia, kind of separating Australia from the rest of the Asian continent. I don't know. You always got to wonder, because with the blockage of the Suez Canal, the Chinese and their One Belt, One Road initiative, which, with the Suez Canal getting blocked, that the Chinese train system is pretty much the only shipping route from east to west at that point. And Indonesia, I'm curious. I mean, they're an island nation. I'm wondering what their oil production is. But these things all kind of tend to tie together a lot of times. But all right, well, we got to keep an eye on Indonesia there.
Yeah, it looks like Indonesia, again, I don't know the history here, but starting in 1966 all the way to 1998, the political structure there by a guy named Suharto called the whole thing the New Order, and it was a generation to try to rebuild political order, economic development, and the removal of mass participation in the political process.
In Indonesia?
In Indonesia, yeah. And that was until the 1990s, the late 1990s. And their coat of arms is, like a phoenix and all that kind of stuff. So,
of course.
Very similar. So, it's one of those issues. You don't abide by the rules, or, you need some infrastructure change. Best way to do it is to blow stuff up.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully nobody got hurt.
You can't count out U.S. or other foreign intelligence agencies as well, creating destabilization.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's just an Indonesian Homer Simpson who turned a knob the wrong way.
Indonesian Homer Simpson. I feel like we're going to get some racially motivated artwork for the next episode, like an Asian Homer.
Geez. Asian Homer.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. All right. Anyways, well, my thoughts and prayers go to the oil refinery in Indonesia.
Welcome to Chinese News!
And this is Chinese news because I started noticing a theme here where wind was being blamed for everything. So we have the freightwaves.com, sandstorm, winds blamed for container ship fiasco in Suez Canal.
Yeah,
wind?
Sure.
Really? Wind? What kind of wind is this?
I don't think so, man. I don't know. So this was one of the largest. I think it was like the second largest container ship in the world or something.
Yeah.
And when ships get this big, it's not just like one propeller and a guy with a steering wheel. There's computers, there's multiple points of propulsion. It's a pretty high-tech thing. And just the wind blew it and stopped all global trade for whatever it is, a week almost, I guess. I don't know. It's just that blame nature. Oh, you know what it is? It's climate change. And so it's Trump's fault. Oh, it's Orange Man bad.
I see.
Yeah.
Post-President Trump is he's in the wind now. He's the angel in the whirlwind coming at you. Yeah, it's I was hearing that the steering mechanism of these large ships, there's like two people that run it. There's like a guy in the front and a guy in the back, and both would have to. Fire engine. Yeah, they would both have to mess up to do what they did there. I mean, it's very bizarre. The latest update I saw, and maybe it's even more recent or something more recent, but it was told that the Evergreen was successfully refloated at 4:30. She's being secured at the moment. More information about next step will follow once they are known. So that's what I heard.
I'm seeing on Twitter, there's a lot of breaking. Evergreen marine cargo ship has been unstuck and has resumed its journey. So yes, I think the ship is free, at least if Twitter is to be believed.
Sure. Yeah. Well, Twitter, the edge of news.
Yeah. Oh, like I'm seeing news. A picture here. Yes, okay, he's been freed. Yeah, all right, crisis diverted.
Well, sort of. There's a lot of memes and stuff people are making out of it.
What else with the wind? What's the wind doing?
Oh, well, just a reminder that a few days ago, remember when Biden fell on the staircase to Air Force One?
On the stairs, yeah.
Yeah, remember what was being blamed?
He being old?
No, it was a gust of wind.
Okay, yes, a gust of wind tripped the president. Again, due to climate change. Thanks, Orange Man.
Quote, this is a WashingtonTimes.com headline, White House keeps changing excuse for why Biden fell on Air Force One. And it says here, quote, it's pretty windy outside. Karine Jean-Pierre, the principal deputy press secretary, told reporters traveling with Mr. Biden to Georgia on Friday. The Times wrote, it's very windy. I almost fell coming up the steps myself. He's doing 100% fine. So, yeah. More wind. What is up with that?
So the wind, got it. The wind blocked the Suez Canal. The wind knocked over Biden.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I feel like something's going on here. And just a reminder, there's an old George W. Bush clip that talks about the wind. Let me play a few seconds here.
Now it is a seed upon the wind, taking root in many nations. In a time of peace, the stakes of our debates appear small.
And then this one here.
When we see that wounded traveler on the road to Jericho, we will not pass to the other side. We know the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong. Do you not think an angel rides in the whirlwind and directs this storm?
Yep. The angel that directs the storm in the whirlwind.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was 20 years ago. 2001, January. So, maybe the angel is getting busy. And, part of the whole thing here to look at, you mentioned climate change. This is Forbes.com. Global wind power growth must triple to achieve net zero. And, I don't want to read the article because you kind of get the point here. But to get sustainable development and all this kind of stuff, we need wind energy to triple. I will read one paragraph. Despite COVID pressures and concerns about the record amounts of Chinese wind installations in 2020, did you know Chinese installed a whole bunch of wind installations in 2020?
Well, I mean, I guess I could have guessed. It doesn't come as a surprise.
The wind industry recorded its strongest year with a record 93 gigawatts of new capacity in 2020.
Gigawatts.
Yet GWEC believe growth must triple over the next decade to have a chance at achieving 2050 net zero goals. And along the same lines, we have money.usnews.com, China to step up financial support for wind and solar power. I feel like this whole thing has to do with just the restructure, the Build Back Better, Great Reset. You know, they want to reset everything, the energy system, and wind has a big part of it. So I don't know. Just connecting some dots that may or may not have to do with the whole situation.
He says with a yawn.
Yeah.
Just connecting some dots. No big deal. Don't listen to me. Yeah. No, that's very interesting. There's a lot of talk about wind. Well, I mean, I guess there's been a lot of talk about wind, but remember the Texas freeze?
Tejas, yeah.
Yes, there was the windmills, the wind turbines that froze.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was a big story, and there's the big conversation between, the windmills froze, so they're bad, or I forget what it was. There's some hilarious conversation going between Republicans and Democrats about which came first. Was the disaster caused by the windmills, or the windmills caused by the disaster? I don't know. Anyways, all right. So we got to keep an eye out for wind. Is wind the enemy now?
Wind may not be the enemy per se.
We need to campaign against the wind.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
But to top it off here, this little section. Oh, go away, pop-up ad. Reuters.com. U.S. needs new understanding with China, or it risks conflict. Kissinger says.
What kind of conflict?
Now, the United States will have to reach an understanding with China on a new global order to ensure stability, or the world will face a dangerous period like the one preceded World War I, veteran U.S. diplomat Henry Kissinger said. Do you believe him?
Interesting.
He's still chugging along,
alive?
Henry Kissinger. Kissinger, now 97, influenced some of the most important turns of the 1970s while serving as Secretary of State under Republican presidents Richard Nixon and Gerald Ford. Speaking at a Chatham House event in London via Zoom, Kissinger said the ultimate question was whether or not the United States and its Western allies could develop an understanding with China about a new global order. Quote, "If we don't get to that point, and if we don't get to an understanding with China on the point, then we will be in a pre-World War I type." That's really hard to do.
It's
Situation
so good,
in
though.
Europe,
it's such a good Kissinger
in which
impersonation.
there are perennial conflicts that get solved on immediate basis, but one of them out of control at some point. I stopped reading and I started mumbling in that.
That is so funny. So what? Just help me understand this. He's saying we need to. What is this? He's saying that China and the U.S. need to work together to create the new global order.
It feels like he's siding more with China, saying the U.S. needs to, work with China or bow to China, whatever it is, in order to prevent World War I type of conflict. Let me just read a little more here.
Interesting pull, World War I, and not World War II.
No, not World War II, World War I. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, it's interesting because surely he knows that Biden and Xi Jinping have spent the most private time together than any other world leader has spent with the president of China. And of course, you can see that now that we know that's been revealed out of Biden's press conference, where he himself said, I'm best friends with Xi. We love hanging out, getting drinks on Friday. We spent the most private time together than any other world leader, et cetera, et cetera. His comments about, genocide is just a cultural thing. Who am I to tell Xi Jinping that that's not the right thing for their culture, et cetera, et cetera. He's really does seem to be, all the walking on eggshells makes a lot more sense now that we know that. Yeah. And I don't know why Kissinger would not trust in Biden's best friendship with Xi Jinping. That as if Biden and Xi Jinping are already not planning the New World Order together.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. Let me continue on here because it's decent. Quote, "It is infinitely more dangerous now than it was then," Kissinger said. Infinitely. He said the high-tech weaponry on both sides could lead to a very... it says gave. I think they meant grave. That's a typo. Come on, Reuters. Get it together. He said the high-tech weaponry on both sides could lead to a very grave conflict. Mm-hmm. High-tech weaponry. What is he talking about? Laser weapons?
He's talking about AI. He's talking about drones. He's talking about super soldiers, space weapons, microwave cannons. Just the stuff on record, not the conspiracy theory stuff. That's just the stuff in the news.
On record. Amid worsening relations with China and the West on a range of issues from human rights and trade to Hong Kong, Taiwan has said China is bolstering its ability to attack and blockade the China-claimed island. Kissinger said the United States would likely find it difficult to negotiate with a rival like China and would soon be larger and more advanced. And that would soon be more... China that would soon be larger and more advanced in some areas. The other question, he said, was whether or not China would accept that new order. Kissinger praised China's skill at organizing itself for technological advance under state control. Of course he did. But he said the West had it. Oh my gosh, I'm struggling with this article. Yeah. But he said the West had to up its game. Quote, "The West has to believe in itself," Kissinger said. Quote, "That is our domestic problem. It's not a Chinese problem." It's
we have to believe in ourselves? What is this? The Mighty Ducks? Come on, Kissinger. Well, he does have a good point because there's a growing anti-American sentiment, which is not totally undeserved. As far as like the American dream, and you can accomplish anything in America, this very special place, which for the most part, I would say ideologically is still technically true, but with all the revelations about how the system is so rigged against anybody who's not in the cool kid club, I could see, it makes sense that young people, especially, millennials, we lived through 9/11, the 2008 recession, the growing advantage taking of the higher educational system, locking kids in a lifelong debt just to get a college degree that is useless, basically, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of young folk, I would say that's a decent description, that they don't believe in the West anymore.
Well, that's hasn't that been part of the agenda, though, to really crumble from within the Western ideals and bring in a generation that's more susceptible to a type of socialism or a type of communism, like the government's going to help us and we're on
someone's agenda,
the interesting thing about this is Kissinger keeps referencing technology here, and it says he added that China's economic might did not automatically mean that it will be superior in all aspects of technology this century. Kissinger negotiated on behalf of Nixon to open China to the West in 1971 without telling George H.W. Bush, who was Washington's ambassador to the United Nations, about the talks. Asked about Brexit, Kissinger said he had refused to campaign against leaving the EU as he saw a role for an autonomous Britain as a bridge between the United States and the rest of Europe. Yeah, this guy, he's always thinking like he's a king of some kind, like some kind of king ruler of the world.
Sure.
But yeah, I found it fascinating that he would come out and warn people. 97 years old. Do you think he's going to be one of these guys that gets jacked into the Neuralink and the system there to try to stay alive, or you think he's going to?
I think he's going to have his head frozen after. I don't think it'll be quite ready by the time he goes. I mean, given I don't know how much baby blood his doctors have him on, but they could probably keep him around for, if he's lucky, maybe 10 more years. But that's asking a lot.
Yeah. So just to wrap up the China section here, the connection with wind, the connection with the infrastructure exploding and things falling apart, and even Biden falling over. I feel like there is a rush right now to tear down the old and to replace it with the new, and it's kind of a race between quote unquote the West and China. And it's almost, if you're thinking about the system here, we wrestle not against flesh and blood. We're talking about the spiritual entities that sort of loom over regions. Mm-hmm. You can picture how they're playing chess, and the game is getting really intense now with new tools at their disposal,
right.
And just the pawn pieces getting thrown out there, and now I feel like we're past the pawns. We're getting to the rooks and that kind of thing. So you get the analogy.
We're past the opening moves, you're saying.
Right. We're getting into the deep part of the strategic game of chess being played. And it's all kind of to bring about one world global system that, global or whatever pancake, whatever you feel.
The Great Reset.
The Great Reset. Oh man, that would be a fantastic conversation to listen to. Kissinger in a room with Klaus Schwab.
I think it would be frustrating. You wouldn't be able to tell who's talking.
Oh, the translators would have just a hard time really getting into what's being said. Yeah. But I would pay to see that.
Real quick, since we mentioned the Great Reset, I just want to mention I saw very interesting. I was scrolling through the Canary Cry Instagram, as I do occasionally, and on the Discover page, a video of what's that guy's name? Russell Brand came up. I guess he's doing a lot of videos now, and it was a whole 20-minute video of Russell Brand going into the Great Reset. And who is totally, I think we agree with a lot of what Russell Brand has to say about specifically the Great Reset, maybe not a lot of other things. But he's kind of a big influencer guy, and he's coming out and publicly, pushing back against the Great Reset. And he actually had some great clips in his little video. I was thinking, I got to snake through and steal those clips. Not of him talking, but of Davos, the actual Davos people talking. And they were specifically being like, oh, don't worry. Everybody in the Davos universe, this won't affect you at all. We're all going to be fine. But
interesting.
They're specifically saying yes, we're doing a bunch of crazy things and it's gonna be really bad for a lot of people, but don't worry, everybody here at the meeting, you're gonna be okay. It's oh, great. Didn't see this clip anywhere.
Wasn't Russell Brand, didn't he have his Brand X, and he had some
that was
pretty
a long time ago.
New World Order type of stuff? I mean, what did he flip, or is he just deployed?
He's just a super new agey guy.
Well, I know that, but he's
got his podcast. Okay. He's got a podcast. He does. I don't think he's working in show business anymore. He's just kind of doing a freelance thing. He does his podcast. He's got I don't know, a mailing list. I don't know. He's figuring it out.
So he can say these things now without too much consequence.
Yeah. No, he's, as far as in traditional show business control mechanism, I don't believe he's in that world anymore. So he's kind of gone rogue. So I don't know. Maybe that's why he was allowed to come out and speak against the Great Reset. I have no idea. I don't know much about it.
Well, we'll keep that in mind. That is an interesting observation, though. We have seen in the last, I'd say, 2 to 4 years, especially after Trump took office, a lot of the New Agers coming to the side of the anti-world government, anti-UN, that sort of sentiment. It's been interesting to watch. Okay, the big story here, and part of what the angel that might be in the whirlwind.
666.
Yes.
This has been on everybody's radar. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. So this has been making a big splash lately. It's all anybody can really talk about on social media. And this is Lil Nas and his Satan shoes. You may have seen floating around. They're Nike Air Max 97s. They contain 60 cc's of ink and 1 drop of human blood. There were 666 pairs made, individually numbered, and they cost a measly $1,800. And they come out.
You mean $1,018?
Yes, well, thank you.
$1,800 would be although
$1,800, $1,018.
If you go on eBay, they're already selling for like between $2,500 and $3,000. So
yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
And they're individually numbered, so I imagine that the number 666, the last pair created, is probably I don't know who got it, but that's probably the prime pair there. Now, for those who don't know about it, you can look at the pictures here. They're just kind of like a normal Nike shoe. It's got the Nike logo on the side, which we'll talk about. They're individually numbered, so it'll say, right on the side in red, it'll say 1 out of 666. This one in the photo is 6 out of 666. They've got a Bible verse on the side. It references Luke 10:18.
That's right. Yep, Luke 10:18. And he said to them, I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven. This is Jesus talking here.
So very specific there. It's got a pentagram, a brass pentagram that kind of hangs off the shoelaces there. Very sinister looking. And in the sole, it has I don't know what to call it, a little chamber that has liquid in it. And I think that's the ink they're talking about. Yeah. So it looks like red ink, and then allegedly in each one of those, each pair of shoes has 1 drop of human blood in it. Now, this comes as no surprise to anyone who knows anything about Lil Nas. And Lil Nas is sort of infamous for being, I don't know if trolly is the word, but
provocative.
Provocative and explicit regarding these types of, talking about Satan and all sorts of spiritual stuff like that, which is, people are acting so shocked. That's the crazy thing. I look at people posting this like it's some shocking revelation that a musician in America could possibly have some satanic leanings. It's like, this is not new at all. Yeah. But, there's some fun details in there. What do you think about this guy?
I think part of the disturbance was I was seeing that there was video being shared of Lil Nas. I don't know when this was. It was a concert that he did, like a little event or whatever that he did. And it was at like an elementary school. So the entire audience are little kids, maybe like, 7 to 10 years old or something. And they're all singing along and, they know the music and everything like that. I think pairing that concept of like, hey, look at all these children super into Lil Nas X next to, hey, check out Lil Nas's new video where he goes into the underworld and he's, lap dancing on Satan.
Yes,
and, like literally,
his
that's
music video is even more extreme.
It's pretty crazy, yeah. But and his troll work, you know, he did come out with a tweet that said like you know, I'm gonna, here's my apology or whatever, and it wasn't an apology. It was him saying, you know, here's what I have to say, and it just plays a clip of him from the music video lap dancing on Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Where did the blood come from? Do we know?
That I am curious about. Let's see if there's any information on that. WKBN.com. Rapper Lil Nas X's Nike Satan shoes sparked outrage. Yes, they contain 1 drop of human blood. Let's see. Yeah. The stuff about his thing. The shoe will reportedly contain 66 cc's of red ink, 1 drop of human blood in the sole. Yep, doesn't really say where it came from.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And you know, part of it too, the maker of the shoe. So these are Nikes, but Nike didn't make the shoe. Just to clarify.
Right. Yeah.
Mischief, spelled without the
any vowels.
Yeah.
Very
Mischief.
hip.
Yeah, super hip. Mischief was the one that put together the shoe, and he actually has made Jesus shoes as well in the past. I don't know that it's any. I mean, literally, it's like the same kind of Nikes with Matthew 14:25 on the side of it. It's really not that impressive. Like literally, his whole thing is like he gets old Nikes and he slaps on a couple things on him.
Yeah, well, it's kind of this like secondary market recustomization of old shoes,
right?
Which has become increasingly popular over the past few years or decade or so with the sneakerheads out there.
Yeah, although it's got the Pope. The crest of the Pope there, so you know it's not exactly.
Oh, so it's also a satanic shoe.
Yeah, it's the satanic Jesus shoe.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think similar to what you said, people are overreacting to this a little bit. At the same time, it's kind of.
I mean, it's just I don't even know about overreacting. It's just social media filler, is what it is, and the more. You know, the crazy thing is I went onto the Facebook, and it's like the entire timeline was you know, Christian folks, listeners of the show, posting about this shoe. It's like, yeah, we get it. These musicians are Satanists, and Satanists do satanic things. But we're just sort of advertising this shoe.
I know. Yeah, it's almost like the outrage itself is probably increasing the value of the shoe on the secondary market there.
Yeah, and he's got his... Did you see the music video? I
got about a third of the way in, and I couldn't handle it anymore. I stopped watching
I'm about 10 seconds in, and it's just so weird.
It is weird.
It's too weird. Oh, yes. It's if you're looking for a crash course in 100% Luciferian satanic imagery and the retelling. Yep. Okay, we can't play this on the show.
No, we're not going to play it. I told you it's literally Lil Nas X, descending down into Hades, and he lap dances on Satan, and then he kills Satan and takes his horns and puts them on his own head.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
All right, that's enough about this guy.
Yep. Point being, this is like a crazy marketing campaign for these shoes and for Lil Nas X. Seems to be working, but also it does speak into kind of the Revelation 13. You know, people are going to worship the beast. It's going to be an open thing. You know, it's just. I mean, it wasn't. I feel like the open worship of, not worship necessarily, but like the imagery of Satan and all this kind of stuff has always kind of been there, especially in the modern era, but it's never been, I don't know, it just seems more normal. I think they're just normalizing, desensitizing, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, you know, the interesting thing is, and this is kind of stemming from some comments I'm seeing in the chat about, it's just all about mocking Christianity, stuff like that. I can't think of any other world religion that has basically the anti-religion of it. Like with Christianity, you got Satanism. Christianity, Satan is the bad guy, and then there's an entire religion, Satanism, that worships the bad guy and thinks the good guy is the bad guy and the bad guy is the good guy.
Right.
What's the Islamic version of this? What's the Buddhist version? Is there a Buddhist where they worship the ego and don't they think egolessness and whatever? I don't know that much about Buddhism. Is the bad guy?
Well, I know in Islam there's the whole notion of the Jal, which is kind of like their antichrist kind of thing. Yeah. In Buddhism, a lot of it is more philosophical. It's like suffering is the enemy of man, and suffering is carnality is the enemy, and that kind of thing. So it's not associated to an individual, not just a character, but like a personification.
Well, Islam recognizes a Satan figure.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. The Jal is kind of like the Antichrist guy.
Figure. But there's no religion that worships the Jal actively right now.
True.
Like in opposition to an established Islam religion.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird how Christianity has this very specific two sides of the thing that you can like take a side and worship Satan or worship God. It's not like in Buddhism, there's not, I don't even know if they technically worship Buddha, but there's not a pro-Buddha sect and an anti-Buddha sect. I don't know, it's just
anti-Buddha.
Weird. Yeah.
That's our next album.
Yeah.
We are the anti-Buddhists.
Let's move.
Okay, fine. All right, we'll do a little bit of Waccines.
Waccine.
Woo!
Waccine.
Waccine.
Okay, let's start off. See what our buddy Biden's got going on.
What? Anyway,
Mr. Hairy Legs.
Hairy Legs Biden. Oh, where's my what? Where did my hairy legs go?
Are you okay?
I can't find my hairy legs.
Sabotage.
They were right there, and then now they're gone. Where'd you go, Joe?
He's tired of
Joe.
You can play Joe Eagle.
Joe.
Or Jim Eagle.
Yeah. I'll play this one because I have it handy.
Take a sniff. I can smell ice cream. Okay, I'm Joe Biden. I'm big on ice cream.
Yeah.
There we go. This is coming from MSN.com, mirrored from the Washington Post. And we've been talking about vaccine passports for a while. But as far as the executive branch of the government, we've got some news here. The headline is Vaccine passports are on the way, but developing them won't be easy. The Biden administration and private companies are working to develop a standard way of handling credentials, often referred to as vaccine passports, that would allow Americans to prove that they have been vaccinated against the novel coronavirus and businesses try to reopen. The effort has gained momentum amid President Biden's pledge that the nation will start to regain normalcy this summer, and with a growing number of companies, from cruise lines to sports teams, saying they will require proof of vaccination before opening their doors again. The administration's initiative has been driven largely by arms of the Department of Health and Human Services, including an office devoted to health information technology, said 5 officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the effort. Why would they need to be anonymous? What is the point?
They're scared. They're scared of the white supremacists.
They are government officials discussing official government business. Just talking about it's not even that crazy. We know about vaccine passports. why would 5 officials speak anonymously to something that they're trying to promote from the White House? I don't believe it. I don't buy it. This is journalism shenanigans. The White House this month took on a bigger role coordinating government agencies involved in the work, led by coronavirus coordinator Jeff Zients, with a goal of announcing updates in coming days, said one official. The White House declined to answer questions about the passport initiative, instead pointing to public statements that Zients and other officials made this month. Quote, "Our role is to help ensure that any solution in this area should be simple, free, open source." I don't think they know what that means. "Accessible to people both digitally and on paper, and designed from the start to protect people's privacy," Zients said at a March 12th briefing. The initiative has emerged as an early test of the Biden administration, with officials working to coordinate across dozens of agencies and a variety of experts, including military officials, great, helping administer vaccines, and health officials engaging in international vaccine efforts. The passports are expected to be free and available through applications for smartphones.
Nothing is ever free. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Which could display a scannable code similar to an airline boarding pass. Americans without smartphone access should be able to print out the passports, developers have said.
And tattoo it onto your forehead or their right hand.
Yeah, what if they don't have access to a printer? Other countries are racing ahead with their own passport plans, yada, yada, yada. We've been following that. I mean, the big story here was the Biden administration, 5 anonymous officials coming out and talking about it. And yet, why is Biden? Why are they separating themselves from this? Why put distance between this and their love of vaccines? It's very strange.
It's bizarre.
Yeah.
But not surprising, because they have to know that this is not going to be popular, even amongst pro-vax people.
Yeah, well, there's a constitutional right to free movement, and if you start mandatorily, mandating that somebody has a document, or they can't move freely, show us your papers.
It says later in the article, those initiatives, such as the World Health Organization-led global effort and a digital pass devised by IBM that is being tested in New York State, are rapidly moving forward, even as the White House deliberates. IBM,
America's most beloved technology company, and also the Nazis' most beloved technology company that were responsible for the punch cards to keep track of Jews.
Yep. Yeah, not surprising.
Cool. Yeah, get them involved. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, man. This is bad news. But I have seen quite a bit of pushback, at least on social media, from people you wouldn't expect to push back on this kind of thing. A lot of, like more left-wing Democrat types saying like, hey, this is kind of a little too much. But then again, I saw a bunch of people posting how they got their free donut from the vaccine. So, it's a balance.
Oh, good. Yeah. I side with the World Health Organization, Gons. If anybody asks, I trust the science. I trust the global health initiative of the World Health Organization when they say that it is a catastrophic moral failure that young white people in rich countries are getting vaccinated before doctors and nurses in third world countries. So I'm just morally superior than anybody, any young person getting their vaccine.
You are totally aligned with Hillary Clinton. That's good to know.
Yeah. And anybody who asks why I didn't get my vaccine, they're a selfish, ungrateful, global hating American.
Yeah. Really gotta set your priorities straight. Is it all about you? Is it all about you? Believe in yourself, as Kissinger says. Believe in yourself.
The West must believe in themselves again.
Okay, so moving forward here, a couple different things to point out. This one is from Bloomberg.com. Carcinogen found in hand sanitizers that plugged COVID gap.
Ooh.
So, of course, during the whole
Plugged
lockdown...
COVID gap.
I know.
I do not like the sound of that.
No, I don't either. No, so it says, here's some widely available hand sanitizers that American consumers snapped up last year to ward off coronavirus infection contain high levels of a chemical known to cause cancer, a testing firm's analysis found. An assortment of hand cleaners that flooded into the market after mainstays disappeared from retail outlets contain high levels of benzene, according to Valisure, a New Haven, Connecticut-based online pharmacy that tests product for quality and consistency. Benzene causes cancer, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. The World Health Organization's research arm, cancer research arm, puts it in the highest risk category, on par with asbestos.
Oh my gosh,
that's pretty intense.
Wow.
So yeah, hey, no coronavirus, but cancer. Yay.
Yeah. Well, what else is new? Yeah.
What else is new? And it's man, it's just so infuriating. Like, I feel like when we man, I must be getting old because all I do is reflect on how things were different when I was a kid. But when I was a kid, I got sick a lot. I rolled around in the mud, outside. I got all gross and filled with bacteria, and I was fine. You get over it. Your body learns to react to it. But I feel like in this clean freak generation, they're going to get sick even more because they're not exposed to any of it.
Oh yeah,
the body doesn't know how to fight back against any of that stuff.
Yeah,
and
this is interesting. So it says in this article, Valisure. Okay, that's the analyst. Got it. Analyzed 260 bottles from 168 brands and found 17% of the samples contained detectable levels of benzene. 21 bottles, or 8%, contained benzene above 2 parts per million. A temporary limit the Food and Drug Administration set for liquid hand sanitizers to ease the supply squeeze.
Wow.
So they're like, oh, we can't make enough sanitizer. Okay, well, you can put more cancer in it if it means you can make more. What is the logic behind that?
Well,
crazy.
Gotta upkeep or uphold these organizations or companies.
Yeah, right. It's all about the money at that point.
Yeah.
And it says here, that level, quote, can be tolerated for a relatively short period of time, the FDA said in June. 15 brands were represented among the 21 bottles with the highest levels of contamination. The samples came from the shelves of stores nearby its headquarters and online outlets, Valisure said. So can be tolerated for a relatively short period of time. Does that mean a year? Does that mean a week? What is the relatively short period of time? Because some people may have been putting this stuff on 3 times a day for an entire year. Spooky. The FDA tests hand sanitizers and works with companies when appropriate to recall products, yada, yada, yada. I love this. Quote, the agency reminds manufacturers, distributors, and repackagers and importers they are responsible for the quality of their products and urges manufacturers to test their ingredients to ensure they meet specifications and are free from harmful contamination, Khan said in the email. This is the FDA, the organization in charge of making sure that American people aren't poisoned and killed by products, and yet it says the agency, it's just here to remind manufacturers and urge them to test their ingredients. Great. Why are you even around, FDA? I don't understand.
There's a list here of the hand sanitizer brands with bottles testing for the highest levels of benzene detected by Valisure. And the top 3: Art Naturals, Sensational Soaps and Candles Inc., Huang Jisoo, and you scroll down, number 6, Star Wars Mandalorian. What?
Star Wars Mandalorian brand hand sanitizer causes cancer. That is so sad.
Yeah, always knew.
Well,
don't trust the Mandalore.
It's sad because that's obviously branded for children.
That's what. Yeah, a lot of this stuff.
So
Women and children.
Children's hand sanitizer has a high level of carcinogens. I mean,
pure logic. Pure logic at number 10. Very logical.
Natural wonders.
I don't trust anybody that spells wonders WUNDERZ. Come on. Pure Ties hand clean 100. Okay.
Among the most contaminated hand cleaners were products from Art Naturals, Scent as in like a smell, Sensational Soaps and Candles Incorporated, The Cream Shop. Oh no. And a Baby Yoda themed bottle from Best Brands Consumer Products. Each start selling the cleaners that were tested by Valisure in either April or May of 2020, according to FDA records.
So there you go. Wow. Baby Yoda causes cancer.
Oh no.
Lucasfilms is murdering people.
Jeez Louise.
What's new? Giant corporate.
Why do they have to break my heart so much? All right. Well, speaking of the vaccines, Gons, this is coming from thepointsguy.com. The headline is 3 things to know about your CDC vaccine card. This is good. I want to know about this. Oh, this is interesting. Here's a little disclaimer. This post contains references to products from one or more of our advertisers.
Oh.
We may receive compensation when you click on the links to those products. Terms apply. Okay, so they're just disclaiming, like, yes, this is an advertising post.
It is a native ad post.
Yes, so this is a native ad, folks. Let's see what they got to say about the vaccine card. As you may know, if you've already been vaccinated, the only way to confirm that someone has been vaccinated against COVID-19 in the United States right now is a physical paper card from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. This card includes medical information such as the type of vaccine you received, the date you received it, and where you were vaccinated. We're not yet close to the standardized global system that tracks this information. So this small card is one of the most valuable assets you have right now, especially as travel restarts. Hiccup, sorry. Wondering what to do with your vaccination card until it's time to travel? Here's what we know. First things first, put your vaccination card in a safe place. If you haven't already done it, do so now. It's an extremely important document and the only way to easily verify that you've been vaccinated against COVID-19. That means you should give it the same kind of treatment you would your credit cards, driver's license, or passport, and store it in a secure location, such as a wallet, safe, or desk drawer at all times. Do I need to keep my vaccine card if I use a vaccine passport? You will want to keep your vaccination card handy, but you may not have to travel with it in the future if you're using a digital health vaccine passport. And this is one of the links that is one of their advertisers. Certain destinations, tour operators, travel providers may require proof of a COVID-19 vaccination or accept proof of vaccination as an alternative to strict testing and quarantine requirements. Streamlining these processes is something the travel industry has been working on in the form of digital vaccine passports. A digital health passport will host verified tests, blah, blah, blah. It says here, American Airlines and British Airways introduced a mobile health passport called Verifly. Copa Airlines and the Panamanian government are also partnering with IATA Travel Pass to create a health passport, yada, yada, yada. Okay. Here we go. What if I lose my vaccine card? We shouldn't have to say this, but you don't want to lose or damage your vaccination card. Quote, even though it's a low-profile, small piece of paper, it's an extraordinarily high value for you as a person to be able to travel, said Steve Swayze, the vice president of communications at Healthline, in an interview last month. Healthline is also owned by TPG's parent company, Red Ventures. So again, this is an advertisement for for another ad. Until there's a universal verification tool, Swayze says he'll laminate and wear a sticker he received after being vaccinated when he hits the road. Otherwise, other travelers I've spoken to have said they plan to laminate their vaccination cards to prevent damage, and Staples will even do it for free.
I was going to say.
That's an ad for Staples.
That was a Staples thing. They're really in that. They're like, how could we really, and we talked about this last episode, but how do we really monetize the situation? Free laminations, baby.
Mm-hmm. If you do lose or damage your card, don't panic. All COVID-19 vaccination providers are required to report data within 72 hours in their state's immunization system. That means there will likely be a backup record of your vaccination status.
Where?
And this is a question that I've had for a long time. Are there records, state records of your vaccination?
72 hours is kind of a long time, too. Things can get lost.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. The CDC recommends contacting the Immunization Information System in your state to see if they have records, but not to contact the CDC since they do not keep a record of COVID-19 vaccines. You can also contact the place where you got your shot or your state's health department. And don't forget, you have these options with all vaccines, not just with COVID-19 shots. Recently, a friend who got vaccinated in Brooklyn accidentally got her card wet before receiving a second dose of the Pfizer vaccine, and workers at the facility happily exchanged it with a new card. So depending on where you are in the vaccination, blah, 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 blah.
You know what?
Bottom line.
Okay, go ahead. Finish the bottom line, then I'll mention.
I say the bottom line. This entirely useless article filled with native advertisements says this: the world hasn't found a standardized system for COVID-19 vaccination verification. So keep track of your vaccination card is extremely important. However, as more digital health passport apps are rolled out this year, you may be able to keep your card at home in your drawer and use a digital version instead of the original paper copy. And if you lose your card, you can try to get a replacement through your local immunization site or state health department. This was a useless article.
Yep. Here's my question. Can somebody who did not get the vaccine make a big enough deal to get a card that says they got a vaccine? Like if I
make a deal?
Like if I called the local vaccine guy and I say, I lost my card, can I get a new one? And they're like, well, you're not, and they look up at their system or whatever. We don't see your name in the system. Oh, well, my arm was sore. Just make a huge deal. And they're like, because if there's no true record, you know what I mean? How many people can just be like, I'm telling you, I got it. I don't know what to say. Yeah. And then they're kind of forced to hand out the.
That is a great question. I mean, they're saying here that they do keep records on who gets the vaccine.
I know, but they're not clear about that. But you can just say, like, no, I was here.
Well, right. That's the thing. What are they going to do? Vax you again?
What
are the dangers of revaccinating an already vaccinated person?
Yeah.
That seems like a huge liability where they really only have the option of taking your word for it at this point.
Yeah. Well, it's not just the people they're going after. They're going after the children. And, of course, Dr. Fauci, the Daddy Fauci.
Science is truth.
Is out there on RT.com. Unvaccinated children must wear masks when playing together, Fauci warns.
Oh, Fauci.
Yeah, just be
Daddy
brief with this.
Fauci's here to tell you how to live, kids.
White House Health Advisor Dr. Anthony Fauci is continuing to warn people about the dangers of COVID-19, this time recommending kids remain masked around one another. Quote, when the children go out into the community, you want them to continue to wear masks when they're interacting with groups or multiple households, Fauci told CBS on Sunday, warning that, quote, children can clearly wind up getting infected. I don't know. This is very bad. That's not a very good Fauci.
You had the timbre right, but there's a Bostonian accent.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to do. Even if the various households have been vaccinated against the virus, Fauci also hit a bittersweet note when asked if kids will be able to enjoy activities impeded by shutdowns combating the virus, like summer camps and playgrounds. Fauci would only say it's, quote, conceivable that will be possible. The same nonsense coming from Fauci.
Yeah, the slithery
maybe,
words.
But not really, but maybe, but we don't know.
Did he say it's only conceivable?
Conceivable that will be possible.
he has such a it's just a slithery snake, man.
He is. It doesn't make any sense.
Conceivable that will be possible. It just means nothing.
That's not science.
It's the least possible committal you can put on a statement.
I'm sorry, but we can learn something from Fauci in terms of how to deal with situations, uncomfortable questions. Just start stacking, potentialities on top of each other. Well, it's potentially possible that it is a consideration that is that could happen.
There could be a reality in which one could imagine that may or may not be possible. That's going to be my answer if somebody asks me if I have the vaccine.
Yeah, it sounds like all the people that predict the stock market, Tomorrow it may go up, but it's possible that there is a chance that it may go down.
One could imagine that it might go up or maybe possibly conceivably down.
If the U.S. keeps up its current vaccination pace, 3 to 3.5 million a day, according to Fauci, then there will be more flexibility for large group activities like summer camps. Quote, "We don't know for sure," Fauci, who has said school-age kids likely won't be vaccinated until 2022, warned, quote, "But I think it's an aspirational goal that we should go for. Go for it, America." Anyway, it makes me mad. All the Fauci articles make me mad. But maybe Spain is doing it right. This is Bloomberg.com. Mass live concert offers a glimpse of music in post-pandemic era.
Ooh.
Yeah, you got a big crowd in Barcelona, or is it Barcelona?
It's
technically Barcelona. And just real briefly here, as musicians stoke the first chords of their electric guitars, and singers take the stage, grabs the microphone and cries, "All the weirdos were there at the concert of the great mind reader from Dublin." Okay. I don't know. Must be the band thing, or the band being referenced here. At his feet, 5,000 electrified fans sing, jump, and dance to the indie pop hit. It might be any Saturday night gig in 2019 if it weren't for the masks, the whiff of sanitizer, and the tickets providing a negative COVID-19 test. So based on our last story, we have people with lower oxygen levels and cancer all over themselves. Cancer-causing benzene.
Yeah, and they all had to get tested. So if they're tested and none of them have it, what's the point of the masks? Don't ask questions.
Very, very astute observation. Go in your cage, Basil. You're asking. You're making too much sense here.
I'm gonna get in trouble again.
And there's a photo here of everybody in their masks. They're all bunched together and they're holding up their cell phones. And anyway,
I love the emphasis he puts on in this next paragraph. Quote, "Don't take off your masks because the success of live music in Europe and the world depends on this concert tonight," singer Santi Balmes said between songs. Before the music started, giant screens showed videos of doctors encouraging people to follow the rules.
Oh, gosh.
Wow.
What a buzzkill.
The destiny of live music in Europe and the world depends on you keeping your mask on tonight.
Imagine going to a concert, and you're like, because, rock and roll music and concert and all that, indie music even is supposed to be like anti-man and, and then you get a big PSA of doctors saying, make sure to wear your mask.
Yeah.
But the names of the bands here at the concert may be telling here. Attendees gather for a concert by band Love of Lesbian at Sant Jordi Stadium in Barcelona. So Love of Lesbian, your big breakthrough band that is at the pinnacle of concerts in Europe. Yeah, spearheading the future.
It's all riding on them, so I hope it goes well.
Oh gosh,
when did this happen?
Last week, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, one of the things that got shared around social media, we do want to address it real quick before we take a break here.
Let's just address this and we can go through it together. This is regarding naturalnews.com. And this is a very popular site for people looking for alternative news. It's been around for quite a while. It is chock-a-block full of ads. I've never seen a site that can cram as many ads into one page as Natural News. I'll be up front. I would recommend nobody rely on Natural News for anything. They've sort of, in my view, they've been proven to be mainly a money-making institution that will pretty much write anything that goes against a mainstream narrative. And not that that's the bad thing. The bad thing is they'll literally say anything that'll get you to click and gets them paid. So I just want to start with that. That is my personal belief. Gons, I'll let you do your own thing. People send Natural News stuff to me. I got people in my life, my friends, my family, who always ask me about Natural News stuff. I do not consider it a reliable source of news. But here's and just by the clickbaitiness of everything, you know that it's a money making scheme rather than an integrous skepticism site. Anyways, the headline is Medical Shocker. Scientists at Sloan Kettering discover mRNA inactivates tumor suppressing proteins, meaning it can promote cancer. Okay. There's so many things wrong with that just on a side, just on its face, saying discover mRNA inactivates tumor suppressing proteins. mRNA is not a special new thing that was created for this vaccine. mRNA is something we've all had forever. It's just part of your body. So saying that's like saying it reminds me of the Groupon ad that I saw once. I don't think I may or may not have talked about it on the show. I got a Groupon ad that said, get this Groupon to this cycling center and release those disgusting endorphins. I mean, like, they obviously had no idea what endorphins are, and they had heard, release endorphins, but whoever was writing this ad was like, oh, well, if you're releasing them, they must be bad. Yeah, get rid of those endorphins. Anyways, I'm going on. There's a secret layer of information in your cells called messenger RNA that's located between DNA and proteins that serves as a critical link. Now, in a medical shocker to the whole world of vaccine philosophy, scientists at Sloan Kettering found that mRNA itself carries cancer-causing changes that genetic tests don't even analyze, flying completely under the radar of oncologists around the globe. So now it's time for independent laboratories that are not vaccine manufacturers or hired by them to run diagnostic testing on the COVID vaccine series to find out if these are cancer-driving inoculations that, once the series is complete, will cause cancer tumors in the vaccinated masses who have all rushed out to get the jab out of fear and propaganda influence. Welcome to the world of experimental and dirty vaccines known as mRNA technology. Now, again, to be clear, because certainly listeners will suddenly think that we're vaccine lovers, mRNA vaccines, completely new technology, lots of things to be concerned about, not enough testing, and certainly not rushing out to get it. But for us to bring into question some of the things in this Natural News article, if you're going to type in the chat or think to yourselves, oh my gosh, these guys are pro mRNA vaccine shills, just stop and investigate your own triggers. Okay, you know us, you trust us. Let's continue. Previously unknown cancer-driving messengers are hiding in RNA, not DNA. This mind-blowing discovery should be published on every medical news site, newspaper, television's news broadcast, and on the CDC website. But unless you are reading this article and use DuckDuckGo as your search engine, you probably won't ever see it. That's because Google is in on the fix with Big Pharma and the VIC, the Vaccine Industrial Complex. So here's a more in-depth explanation of what we're looking at for real regarding mRNA and vaccines. That's when you know it's good journalism. You know, here's what we're looking at for real regarding the mRNA vaccine.
For real, bro.
For real, bro. The information-carrying molecule, messenger RNA, can instruct human cells ultimately in the same way as cancer drivers, playing a major role in causing cancer to thrive while inactivating natural tumor-suppressing proteins the human body creates to save you from cancer. This is the complete opposite of what the CDC and the vaccine manufacturers are telling everyone right now about the COVID vaccine. And this is based on clinical research by molecular biologists at the Sloan Kettering Institute. What is the Sloan Kettering Institute? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it looks like it's just an institute that does stuff, genetic or DNA, molecular biology stuff.
I'm curious what is that a...
Well, I'll look it up. I'm looking at the main article from the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. So it looks like they're a cancer research institute. And the headline, the sourced article here from August 27th, 2018. In a twist, scientists find cancer drivers hiding in RNA, not DNA.
What is the... See, and that's the interesting thing. Why are they making such a big deal that it's in RNA and not in DNA? And also, RNA is different from messenger RNA, but they don't really separate that out. Anyways,
okay.
Even sequencing the DNA in cancer cells doesn't reveal these changes. That's how sneaky vaccines are. It's like a Trojan horse that tells your cells to allow these changes to be made as if they were safe, but they're not. All assumptions being made about mRNA being safe right now have been completely turned 180 degrees with this research. Consider this very carefully if you have not yet been vaccinated with mRNA technology. You may want to lawyer up if you already got the jabs.
Well, even that part is kind of weird because these vaccine companies basically have immunity. You can't
There
sue
is
them.
no lawyering up.
Yeah, you can't. That's part of the whole
them.
deal.
They're completely unliable. And so, to tell people to lawyer up is basically telling people to waste money.
Maybe the lawyers paid money for this article to be placed in here. It did get shared quite a bit, close to 150,000 shares. So that's a lot for an article. But this... let me just read the summary.
It goes on and on. And
it goes on.
It's just, notice how there's no reference to any individual doctors or scientists. There's no quotes from any sources whatsoever. It's just sort of this rambling, scary language that really doesn't make a lot of sense, specifically when it's trying to talk about RNA, DNA, mRNA. You're not even reading this unless you're on DuckDuckGo. Well, I'm not on DuckDuckGo, but you've got a nice little ad link in there for it. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the article that's sourced in a twist. Scientists find cancer drivers hiding in RNA, not DNA. This is from the Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Here's the summary. Researchers at the Sloan Kettering Institute have found that changes in an information-carrying molecule called messenger RNA can inactivate tumor-suppressing proteins and thereby promote cancer. The findings pinpoint previously unknown drivers of the disease. It's important to note that, and this is added, I think, because of this story, it's important to note that mRNA are a normal component of all cells, and the specific ones discussed here are not involved in mRNA-based vaccines like the ones developed against SARS-CoV-2.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's
Sloan
in bold.
Kettering specifically says mRNA is in every single cell that you have, and these cancer ones we're talking about are not in the vaccine.
Yes. So
Okay.
this is kind of my suspicion, not being a biologist or any kind of person that is very expert on biology. My sneaking suspicion was that the sensationalization taking place by natural news is looking at the word mRNA and just running with it. Oh, mRNA, totally. And then, it causes cancer, therefore the vaccines cause cancer. Right. But mRNA, I mean, you have different sequences, right?
It causes a whole bunch everything of in your body. Like I'm pretty sure, and this is not I'm not a scientist, but my understanding of mRNA is that it pretty much has a role in every function in your body. Yeah. So it feels like I don't know, because there can be, I think, a link, but it's kind of it's not a one-to-one comparison. You have to sort of do a generalization to even make a connection. Right. So that's the thing. I read through the Kettering the Sloan Kettering Institute document here, and as far as I can tell, this is talking about some different sequences of the mRNA. And again, when you look at that, it's a different thing entirely. It's still mRNA, but it's not the same thing being used in the vaccines or the vaccine technology. So we had I did reach out to our resident biologist, producer and Pneumatic. And they had a response here that they sent. And it's interesting because they said they didn't find any links or sources to the actual document or the original article, but I found it at the bottom here. Maybe they just missed it there. But it says the biological fact is that mRNA is an essential component of how our cells work. The, quote, central dogma of how cells work goes like this. DNA is transcribed to mRNA. mRNA is translated to proteins. Our cells make thousands of different mRNAs all the time. If there was no mRNA, then there would be no protein and there would be no life. I think this article took some research that was about how cancer can start. It appears that researchers found that in some cancers, a specific RNA, or mRNA, stopped being active as tumor suppressors, so cancer started. Unfortunately, and all too common for these types of articles, they do not link to the actual Sloan Kettering scientific report, which Again, they do, but they don't do it in the article. They do it in the little sources section here at the bottom. And maybe that was even added after the fact when people complain that there's no source. We got to do a little digging there. But nor do they state the scientists' names, so I can't really do a good evaluation of what the actual research was looking at. I did a search of the scientific literature using the term Sloan Kettering plus mRNA plus tumor suppressor and literally got 6,000 plus hits. There are a lot of mRNAs involved that suppress cancer formation and a lot of studies on changes in these mRNAs that can lead to cancer initiation or progression. But to then apply this and say that C19 mRNA vaccine is going to cause cancer is a huge unsubstantiated leap. If the researchers had shown the introduction of an actual mRNA in the vaccine caused the tumor-suppressing mRNA to stop working, example, lead to tumor growth, then that would be something to shout from the rooftops. So I think that's important to point out that if there was truly a scientific example of the actual sequencing of the mRNA in the vaccine showing to stop or promote tumor growth, then 100% we should be yelling from the rooftops. But that's not exactly what we have here. What I see go ahead. It's nonsense. Again, we are not pro mRNA vaccine necessarily. But this is just insulting. I just want to finish the note here because I think it's important to summarize here. If what I see in the article is either ignorance / misunderstanding of the research or blatant twisting of what the research findings mean. However, since the mRNA vaccine technology was rushed / forced out in record-breaking time, I do not think we can confidently say that the mRNA in the vaccine will not have other unintended consequences down the road, possibly including cancer. Cancer likely would never show up in a 6-month study.
Many good reasons to not get the mRNA vax without misusing unrelated, misapplied cancer research. So I think that's a really solid, narrow path statement there that, just the people with the level head can kind of take and walk away with from this whole situation here.
Yeah. And Gons, here's the kicker.
Yep.
Okay. Natural News is just a money-making operation. They don't really care about anybody
Accuracy.
or anything except for making money. And they are tuned into the esoteric and using it against anybody looking at, any alternative narratives. And you know what really kicks this off for me, Gons?
Advertising.
There are 33 advertisements on this page.
Wow.
Yep. 33 advertisements. These people are tuned in. They're casting the spell. They're taking advantage of people, and they're monetizing it. And the spell is very effective. So keep that in mind, everybody. 33 advertisements on this one article from Natural News.
Wow. Cherry on top.
Cherry on top. Says it right there.
All right, let's take I think that summarizes that. And again, it's important to, especially now, the polarization of mainstream alternative news, the right left paradigm. It's all part of the divide and conquer. And if you don't stay clear-headed or sober-minded, you can easily be carried away with stuff that seems to, because on the surface, finding an article like this from the Kettering, or what is it, the Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, that could certainly cause you to get all riled up, because it affirms some biases about what you might think about the vaccine, the mRNA vaccine.
Yeah.
So narrow path, sober mind, all that good biblical principle stuff to approach these issues.
That's right. And again, you can have complex sets of beliefs and evidence. Just because we don't like this article from Natural News does not mean we are telling you to get the vaccine. Just like you said, sober-minded.
Yeah, I think we just got called losers in the chat. So,
is Trump here?
Oh, no. Paula's Natural says, I'm out, look up Dr. Tenpenny, which I know about Dr. Tenpenny.
Paula's Natural.
These guys are losers. We're losers now. Yay.
Oh, no. Don't lose as a loser. Win as a winner, Paula's Natural. I wonder if it sounds like she's got her own little alternative health thing going on.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I think we should take a quick break.
It's break time! Come on, take a break.
Okie dokie, folks. We're just going to take a really quick break, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, we've got more stories you're not going to want to miss. We're going to be getting into politics right after the break here. We got cyber attacks. We've got California judges. We've got Trump and his social media update. We've got Trump visiting the border. That's always a fun time. Of course, we've got some QAnon updates here on the whole saga of QAnon and its rise and fall. And of course, we can't get out of here without talking about some artificial intelligence and how it's going to affect your life forever. But until then, we want to take a quick breather and thank some producers. That's right, because unlike Natural News, we do not have 33 advertisements on this show. No affiliate codes, no nothing. We are strictly on the value for value model, which means we create some value. We do the show 3 times a day, and we try our very best to make it valuable to folks. And if you get any value out of it, you have the opportunity to put some value back in. And this is not a charity situation. This is not, now it is very charitable and very generous, but this is not, alms for the poor. What this is a completely new paradigm for media, because as you can tell, advertising has completely tainted the well when it comes to media and especially news, whether it be mainstream or super alternative. Whatever they got to do to get the most ads and the most eyeballs on those ads is what they'll do. So instead of, now it's unfortunate because we've been raised, we've been brought up, we've been programmed, shall I say, in a media landscape that lets us know that, hey, we don't gotta take any responsibility. We don't need to contribute. We don't need to take ownership of the quality news or news analysis or media of any kind because we can get it for free. Well, nothing's for free, folks. If something's free, you are the product. And that's exactly what it is. When you're watching mainstream news or anything that has advertisements on it, the show is not the product. You are the product, and you are being sold by that show. But not here, folks. Here, we put out a product. And if you feel that this product has any value in your life, you get to take part in the rebellion. Every corporate sponsorship is a form of censorship. And as Edward Bernays said, advertising is the ultimate in mass mind control. I paraphrased, but
I was going to say, we're going to get fact-checked on that one.
You know, he's the nephew of Sigmund Freud, so he knows a little bit about psychology. And so there you go. All right, folks. Now, we're going to thank some producers who are real-life producers. They're not just donors. They're not just people who, are helping out a couple of buddies online. They are taking responsibility for their own media future and participating in the rebellion against the stranglehold that the advertising industry has on the entire world. That's right. Facebook, Google, all those big data companies, 99% of their profits come from advertising. You think that they're a big tech company? No, they're an advertising company. And so we are diligently trying to separate from the mind control of that system. And I like to think we're helping other people do that too. So when it comes to this show, we have producers. That's a real title because when you pay for a piece of media to be produced, you are a producer. You can put it on your resume, put it on your LinkedIn, put it on your bio, whatever it is. And we want to thank some of those producers right now. Gons, are you ready?
Ready to go.
Okay, the first way that you can become a producer of the show is by heading over to patreon.com/CCNT for Canary Cry News Talk. That's patreon.com/CCNT. Now, lucky for those who don't have the patience today, there are no new Patreon supporters for this episode. So there you go. No new Patreon supporters. End of the month lull is holding strong, Gons. But don't worry. A lot of people don't like Patreon. That's okay. We support you. You can head on over to canarycryradio.com/support. canarycryradio.com/support. That's right. canarycryradio.com/support is a great way to become a producer. Lots of literature over there for the value for value model. You can learn about the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. There are options if you want to become a monthly supporter of the show, a sustaining producer. You can go ahead and do that. Or if commitment is not your thing, you can go ahead and make a one-time producership in any amount. There's also cryptocurrency, lots of fun stuff over there. Go check it out. canarycryradio.com/support. Gons, who's coming in on the PayPal?
PayPal. We have a good handful of folks here producing this episode. First up, Marcelino M.
Well, thank you very much. Marcelino. Marcelino?
I don't know, but he gave us the Illuminati 33, so, he's got it.
Marcelino is our 33 Illuminati handler for this episode.
Yeah. Thank you, producer Marcelino. Next up, producer Raymond P.
Thank you very much, Raymond P. And I believe producer Raymond is our executive producer for this episode.
He is. Next, we have Malik W. coming in.
Malik. Thank you very much, Producer Malik.
Consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate that, Producer Malik. Next up, Producer Shield Labs.
Woo! Thank you very much, Producer Shield Labs.
And a little note here, like Samson's hair, Gonz's beard held all the podcasting power. I know, it's gone. I should have put it in a bag and glued it back on during the show.
Braided it, made a hemp necklace.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Yeah, my wife would just say, crusty, and throw it away. Next up, we have Producer Cherie.
Thank you very much, Producer Cherie.
And she has a note for us, too.
She sent in a note here. She came in with $33.16. Says here, I haven't been able to give for a couple of weeks. I lost access to my bank account for a bit. Ooh. That's not good. I wanted to give this amount during your 1-year quarantine anniversary show. The amount is for the anniversary of the 15 days to flatten the curve. Yeah, because that's the day that my dad, Tom Tillapow, passed away.
Oh.
Not sure if Basil remembers me talking about him during our Joyspiracy Theory episode, but Dad was one of the greatest men who ever lived. Cherie, I do remember, yes. And for those who have not heard, you can check out the Joyspiracy Theory is another podcast that I do, and look for TJT versus Cherie. And she tells there's a wonderful story about her life, but she's got a lot of great stuff about her dad in that episode. He was the founder of the Denver Street School, the Street School Network, and Hope Academy. Street schools are Christian inner-city schools for at-risk kids, and Hope Academy is a school for the rescued girls of the human trafficking industry, which is the second highest in the country there in Denver. The highest is in Atlanta. My dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in November 2018 and finished his race on March 16th in 2020. Wow. He was a humble servant of Christ who loved and served all others, especially the least of these. This gift is in his honor. Thanks. Well, thank you, Producer Cherie. And yes, thank you to your father, who just did such wonderful work in his time here on Earth. And God bless you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. That wraps it up for our producers on PayPal. There are other ways you can support the show through your time and talent. Producer Jade Bouncerson, continuing with the timestamps. We really appreciate that. You can send us your jingles. We would like them to be either short ISOs or music that relates to the show, custom lyrics and the whole bit. The other way you can do it is with your artwork.
One art, please.
And we have some artwork to share from our producers here. First up, producer Mike B has come in with a few pieces. I'll share a couple here. This first one, Ghost Guns. It's some floating guns pointed at a
very terrified middle-aged man in glasses and sweatshirt here with 3 floating ghost guns who have had their serial numbers scratched out there regarding the ghost gun conversation from last episode.
Yep.
Very funny.
Yep. And he's got a couple more here. He, of course, the theme of this episode, the artwork, was Jim Eagle. So he's got one here of President Biden at his press conference and an eagle with Jim Carrey's head.
Yeah, okay.
Took it quite literally, Jim Eagle.
Very specific take on Jim Eagle.
And another one with an eagle with his wings spread, and again, a Photoshop of Jim Carrey's face on the eagle's face.
Eagle.
Jim Eagle.
Bigger, badder, Jim Crow.
Yep. So there you go. Thank you, producer Mike B. Next up, we have producer Katie/Jason D.
Yeah.
And this is another Jim Eagle. And this one came with a note. We just freaking love you guys so much. Oh, we love you, all of our producers, but especially Katie and Jason D. Thank you for all you do. We agree with, identify, appreciate, love, and are entertained by and value your videos more than I can put into silly little words. for years now, literally, and I'm annoyed with myself that I'm just now telling you this. Thank you and God bless you for all you did, or all you do, sorry. I'm not exactly sure why Milton came to mind when talking about President Harry Leggs' reference to Jim Eagle, but nevertheless, here's my artistic contribution. Seriously, though, you guys bring peace and reprieve in this crazy existence. Thank you again, beyond words. Love Katie and Jason D. But Katie is the artist who drew this drawing. Jason is a musician who definitely should be working on a jingle for you guys. Just saying. All right.
Come on, Jason.
Producer Jason.
Jason.
And this reference to Milton is the Office Space. He's the one that he'd mumble. Just, give you a reason.
I don't know why Milton came to your mind either, Katie, but this is a beautiful piece of art of Milton from Office Space, but with an eagle head, and he's got a great mustache.
The mustache is what identifies the eagle to Milton, and the glasses, I guess.
Yeah, and he's got his red stapler there, and he's peeking out from behind his cubicle. Beautiful piece. Thank you very much, producer Katie and Jason. I'll give you some credit too, but we're waiting, buddy.
Yeah, Jim Eagle's gonna set the White House on fire. He's going to say, set the building on fire. So thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Next up, we have producer Shay, a.k.a. Total Wrong Think. And this is actually just a short video here, and we're going to mute the audio with a little free with the words there. But the note says, my husband sent me this from work. He just happened to be working milk receiving. Normally he works inside the building, which is outside that night. He works night shifts at the Tillamook Cheese Factory. Hope you enjoy. Love you guys and God bless. Video of asteroids. And the other day there was some asteroids. Looks like Shay, her husband, saw them in real life.
Yeah, cool. That must have been exciting.
The Dragon Ball crew coming down, real life pictures. There you go.
Have you ever seen some major... I believe they're meteors when they enter the atmosphere. Have you ever seen like a major meteor in
Not
person?
Like this. I've gone meteor watching. You know, there's a place called Suicide Hill by my neck of the woods. And you go up there and you can, you sit there and you stare up there. You can see kind of, a little
like
bit
shooting stars.
Yeah, a little bit of shooting star stuff.
Yeah.
But they call it a meteor shower, and you can see more on certain given nights. But yeah, that's about it.
There's been a couple times in my life where I've seen true meteors, like balls of fire. One I saw when I was in high school. It'll stick with me forever. And it's just incredible. I mean, it was a big ball of fire, not just like a streak of light, a ball of fire, and then breaking off in different pieces. It was really incredible. So there you go. Anybody who saw the cool meteors recently, lucky dogs.
Yep. So thank you for sending that in, just to prove that it actually took place in the sky. Maybe it was a blue beam project, a little precursor to some of the alien invasion stuff.
Would have been.
Yep. Okay, next up we have producer Allie coming in with another Jim Eagle, but this one Jim spelled G-Y-M.
I didn't even catch that.
Oh, you didn't catch it? Okay, this is Jim Eagle. This is the newest Avenger. It's a reference to you.
Jim Eagle, the newest Avenger.
And this is an eagle, very well done eagle, by the way.
Yes,
just very well done.
Of course.
Wearing the Canary Cry or Canary Swole radio tank top.
Yeah. Great re-rendition of the Canary Swole radio tank top also. It says think outside the cage there. And yeah, I'm totally on board for Marvel adding Jim Eagle, G-Y-M Eagle, the buffest eagle at the gym. Wow. Thank you very much, producer Allie.
Thank you, producer Allie. Next up we have producer Quantum Solace.
Great.
And this one is there's a lot going on here. It says Gons at the top. It's me on a skateboard with a katana. And The translation here, size 33 kimono skateboard samurai action, the bottom here, skateboard samurai action beauty hours versus Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom.
It was me fighting Gavin Newsom on a skateboard. And
this is great.
Yeah, it's really good.
I think you could be another newest Avenger, Guns.
Oh, yeah.
Size 33 kimono man.
Yeah. And there's a speech bubble of me, and I'm saying, bro, I already told you I'm not doing that rail. This kimono is a rental. If I slam and get it dirty, I'm not getting my deposit back.
Yes.
That's very true. Yeah, that's a true statement. So, yeah, that's me battling Newsom. Gavin Newsom. Oh. Which, by the way, I think it's coming up on the expiration of that signature thing. We got to keep an eye out for that because I think that's happening here pretty soon.
Signature
the
thing.
Recall of Newsom. Yeah.
Thing.
Yeah. So there you go. Thank you, Quantum Solace.
Thank you very much.
Very well done. And lastly, for this episode, I know there was one more that came in from Lloyd. We'll save that one for the next episode just because we're pressed on time here. From Grace, producer Grace, coming in, and she has a couple pieces here. Today's art took a whole week to make, so get excited. First, I have art from my youngest niece, who is 5, named Lily. There is a unicorn, robots trying to attack, and God's protection is the rainbow. So there you go. Yeah.
That is great. And for those who are just listening, it's a very talented 5-year-old painting here. Let's see here. But it looks like she used a brush, not necessarily finger paints, but who knows? And yeah, there's a unicorn there with and all the robots and the unicorns and the person riding the unicorn all have googly eyes stuck on. So mixed media.
3D. And the other piece by Grace here, this is the Canary Cry Monopoly board.
Wow. She made it happen.
She made it happen. It's unreal, too. And let me...
all hand done, too.
Yeah. Oh,
this is not a CGI. No CGI here, folks.
Yep. And it says here, you start at go listen to CCNT at the bottom right. The horses are the railroads. They are the 4 horsemen of the technocalypse: Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and Bill Gates. And hold on, let me try to find them here. I guess I'll keep the full view for the viewers.
Yeah, they're in the middle of each row there.
Right.
And I don't know how she did it, but somehow, using a simple drawing of a horse, she was able to make horses look exactly like Elon, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and Jeff Bezos.
Horseman,
the Jeff
Bill
Bezos
Gates.
Horse is bald, so that's
Horseman
helps.
Bezos is bald. Here's Horseman Zuckerberg. Yeah, that is uncanny.
It's really good. And let me just run through some of the spots. I mean, we could talk about this for hours, but, if you've ever played Monopoly, the properties are kind of grouped in their special little groups. We've got one group that is Spot, Sophia, and Flippy. So it's like the robot properties there. And then there's the Canary Cry Community Chest. We've got Green Tax. Then there's Israeli Tech and CERN. And then the jail, you've got the bird in the cage there. Then you've got the UN 2030 agenda and Greta Thunberg.
Oh, the UN 2030 agenda, the logo is, she literally did the exact logo with all the colors in the ring. Yeah. That's amazing.
Then,
she got
of course,
harp too.
Everybody's favorite right
you
after
skipped
that
over harp. You skipped harp,
I was
bro.
doing it. I'm not skipping anything.
Okay.
Just calm down. There's harp there, yes. For those who remember, harp, the government-led program to control the weather. Then we've got Jim Eagle. He has his own space. Oh, I'm choking on myself. Then, of course, later on, we've got Blood Drinking, the 33 Code, and Epstein Island. I don't want those. And in the corner there, it's a little bit small. I can't see it. Oh, Claim Your Reward, Jesus Saves. Then we've got the Waccine, Dr. Fauci, and transhumanism properties. Then we've got Space Race, Skynet, and UFOs. with the EMP blackout, of course, a good space. And then I like this. The go to jail corner is, you got canceled, go to jail. Then, of course, we've got the presidential properties here. Obama, President Hairy Legs, and Orange Man Bad.
Yep.
And then, of course, to finish it up, we've got Lizard People and Grays as the boardwalk, and I forget what the other one, blue one, and along with the NWO tax and all sorts of great stuff. Producer Grace, you did a wonderful job on this. I can't believe that my wildest dreams have come true.
I think she wins this art.
Yeah,
it's not a competition, but she wins.
You can anybody out there, you can find this art on canarycrynewstalk.com on the episode page, and just go ahead and print it out, play for yourself.
Yep. All right, I think that does it for the producerships here. We got to get going, Basil. We're really running up on it here.
I know. Time. We're gonna zoom through.
Yeah. So let's wake up. Come on, jingle maker.
Yes.
Wake on up.
Hey, yo, wake up.
Okay, so first off here. Oh, this is something to just real quickly mention. Where am I? Why am I not finding the articles? Wow, I must really have messed this up here. Hold on one second. This is supposed to be politics, right?
Yes.
It's Latin for many. They'll suck your blood. Politics. Your blood.
All right, we're gonna skip that first one because clearly the link is wrong. So I messed it up. Let's
jump
one.
Over here to msn.com then.
Yep.
And we'll talk about Mr. Hairy Legs.
Hairy Legs again. Don't know where that jingle went.
Ice cream sniffer.
All right, we'll have to go back to the ice cream thing, which I got to change the name.
I can smell ice cream. Okay, I'm Joe Biden. I'm big on ice cream.
He's big on ice cream. This is a mirror from Politico. Quote, the headline is, "Time is not on our side. Biden navigates cyber attacks without a cyber czar?" Without a cyber czar. The Biden White House is facing multiple cyber attacks and cyber espionage campaigns targeting U.S. companies and government agencies without the services of a cybersecurity czar to coordinate a response and keep lawmakers in the loop. The role, known officially as the National Cyber Director, remains unfilled 2 months into Joe Biden's presidency, despite a legal mandate that it be occupied. Oh, he's breaking the law. Lock this man up.
Congress probably I'll do it, or he starts to assign somebody and then he forgets.
He forgets.
And then he just goes,
on a dog
anyway.
Or something.
Yeah.
I like ice cream. Congress had ordered the creation of the post in a defense bill it enacted late last year over then President Donald Trump's veto, and they expected the Biden White House to act quickly on it. But nearly a dozen current and former officials familiar with the deliberations say that it has been the casualty of classic Washington dramas. Executive branch officials wary of legislators meddling in their business and government bureaucrats trying to fend off potential colleagues from encroaching on their perceived portfolios. So basically, they're saying the Biden administration doesn't want to be held accountable. Former officials.
Sorry.
With these things.
I'm sorry. Just real quick, the whole Twitter media studio needs to redo some of their stuff so it doesn't destroy my ears. Go on, I'm sorry.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. The failure to fill the role, which would be responsible for coordinating the entire U.S. government's defensive cyber operations, comes as the new administration grapples with how to kick suspected Russian and Chinese hackers out of federal cyber infrastructure following two major breaches. And it lays bare the challenges in setting up a brand new agency that could encroach upon some power centers in the White House, particularly the National Security Council. Senator Angus King of Maine, he's an independent in Maine. Good for you, Maine. Who serves as co-chairman of the Cyberspace Solarium Commission. That's regarding the Solarium. Is that the Solarium hack, or what is this?
I don't know. Actually, let me look that up real quick. There wasn't there a Solarium hack?
Wasn't it called Solarium? It might have been called something else.
Yeah.
You look it up while I continue. The body that successfully pushed for the inclusion of the National Cyber Director role in last year's National Defense Authorization Act said he was frustrated by the delay. Quote, "It's like we are in a conflict and they are not appointing the Secretary of Defense," he said. Quote, "I would hate to have another attack occur in the next 30 to 60 days and still not have anyone in that position." It's
the Solar Winds, by the way.
That's what it is,
the big hack. This Solarium is just the Cyberspace Solarium Commission is just a national defense thing that was established in 2019. So
it's a fancy name. That's unusual for the government to give such a creative name to something. The White House has indicated to lawmakers that they will send their conclusions to Congress next week, King said, but it's not clear when they will nominate a director, who will need to go through a potential lengthy Senate confirmation process. Further complicating matters is that Congress has yet to fund the NCD office, making it difficult for the White House to plan out how it will be structured. This is a beautiful example of government bureaucracy sabotaging itself.
Yeah.
Quote, and especially in a situation where these cyber espionage and cyber attack, even the ones that have already happened, are like the most horrible hacks that could possibly happen.
Yeah.
I mean, basically the entire government was hacked and we heard about it for a week and they never spoke about it again.
I know.
Quote, "They're taking way too long, and while conducting this review, they have not nominated someone," said Mark Montgomery, a senior advisor to the Cyberspace Solarium Commission and senior fellow at Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Quote, "So they are very much slowing down the development of the NCD office." Montgomery said he believes one reason for the delay is that the administration is underwater with responding to Russia's recent hack on SolarWinds, a company whose software is used by multiple federal agencies, and China's breach of Microsoft Exchange servers used by many local and state governments and private companies. Quote, "Things really are very bad," he said. The blunt simplicity of that statement is just poetic.
And you're talking about
things are really very bad. Please do something about this.
And we have a president who probably doesn't understand any of this.
Right.
So,
yeah, no, I don't think he does. I'm sure somebody is telling him, but I don't think it's he feels it in his heart.
Why don't we put some fences around the computers?
Yeah, just turn it off and turn it back on again.
Just
that's what my nephew always tells me to do.
And my hairy legs and ice cream. Oh, anyway.
Okay. In a statement, NSC spokesperson Emily Horn said the administration has been, quote, "working tirelessly to urgently make the necessary investments to effectively defend the nation against malicious cyber activity." She added, quote, "We are in the midst of a thorough and whole of government 60-day review regarding SolarWinds lessons learned, which includes such a corporate nonsense.
Meanwhile, in the 60 days, the hack got deeper and wider into the infrastructure.
Yeah, exactly. Which includes considerations of how the new federal national cyber director entity will be structured in light of these lessons learned. Like Congress, we are committed to the defense of the nation's cybersecurity. We understand the intense interest in the outcome of this review. However, this work is too important to rush, and we must get it right for the American people.
Oh, okay. We're going to get this right.
Speed for this guy.
Yeah, we're going to get this right for the American people, but untested vaccine that actually physically goes into our bodies, get it out there as quickly as possible.
That's fine. Especially, who was it? Was it Kamala who said that they had to start from scratch with the vaccine?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, it goes on and on, talks about there's kind of a turf war when it comes to this cybersecurity director thing, kind of gets in the way of the national security councils and yada, yada, yada. Just a bunch of bureaucratic hullabaloo.
Yeah, this guy King brings in Pericles. There's an analogy in there. Okay.
Meanwhile, Biden can just decide to bomb Syria overnight whenever he wants. and then wonders why a Syrian-born American opens fire. Weird.
Yeah, weird. Well, just on the back of this story of not having somebody at the helm here in the cybersecurity section of our government, this is Reuters.com. New wave of hacktivism adds twist to cybersecurity woes.
Ooh, twist.
At a time when U.S. agencies and thousands of companies are fighting off major hacking campaigns originating in Russia and China, a different kind of cyber threat is re-emerging. Activist hackers looking to make a political point. 3 major hacks show the power of this new wave of hacktivism. The exposure of AI-driven video surveillance being conducted by the startup Verkada, a collection of January 6th riot videos from the right-wing social network Parler, and disclosure of the Myanmar military junta's high-tech surveillance apparatus. And the U.S. government's response shows that officials regard the return of hacktivism with alarm. An indictment last week accused 21-year-old Tilly Cotman, a Swiss hacker who took credit for the Verkada breach, of a broad conspiracy. Quote, wrapping oneself in an allegedly altruistic motive does not remove the criminal stench from such intrusion, theft, and fraud, Seattle-based acting U.S. Attorney Tessa Gorman said. According to the U.S. counterintelligence strategy released a year ago, quote, ideologically motivated entities such as hacktivists, leaktivists, and public disclosure organizations. Leaktivists.
Wow, that's great.
And public disclosure organizations are now viewed as, quote, significant threats alongside 5 countries, 3 terrorist groups, and transnational criminal organizations. This is maybe why the government is like, maybe we should take our time because we're just getting attacked by everybody.
Yeah.
And we don't need to get into any more of this. I think it talks about Anonymous a little bit and the Gab hack, and and then it gets into QAnon. Yeah, gotta get the QAnon.
Yeah, well, I mean, the fact of the matter is that I think there's a little bit of a, they're stalling on getting somebody in charge of cybersecurity. In the meantime, yeah, these hacktivists are picking up the pace. There's no centralized defense mechanism against hacktivism. And we really haven't heard a lot from hacktivism recently, whether it be Anonymous or whoever. So, when it's always going to be kind of a Wild West where people who, maybe they are, maybe they're not, but a lot of them consider themselves white hats, for the better of society, doing these illegal hacking operations. But that's just what happens when you take your time, Biden.
I know. And it almost feels like it's on purpose, doesn't it, to compromise the cybersecurity infrastructure of the United States as a whole. But don't fret.
Tinfoil hat man.
No, but don't fret. We have our orange savior coming.
Oh, yay.
Because MSN.com, this is Bloomberg actually, Trump ally says social media site coming in 3 to 4 months. We talked about
we got a timeline.
Yeah, we talked about the social media thing that Trump's doing. Donald Trump's planned social media platform will debut in about 3 to 4 months, the former president's one-time campaign manager and senior advisor said. Quote, we're going to have a platform where the president's message of America first is going to be able to be put out to everybody. Corey Lewandowski said on the conservative Newsmax TV network's Saturday
He's back
Agenda.
in action, huh?
Yeah, I remember Newsmax too. Wasn't the guy who founded Newsmax in bed with who was it? Was it Soros or Kissinger? One of the two.
It was one of those. Yeah.
Quote, there'll be an opportunity for other people to weigh in and communicate in a free format without fear of reprisal or being canceled, he said. Lewandowski's comments followed ones from Trump, who said on a March 22nd podcast that after being banned from Twitter and other major social media platforms, he's working on his own and would have more details soon. Okay. Quote, I'm doing things having to do with putting our own platform out there that you'll be hearing about soon, Trump said in an interview for Fox News contributor Lisa Booth's podcast, The Truth. And goes into the pastor. So, yeah, as I mentioned in the last episode, I was privy to some information about who is involved in the infrastructure, the building of this social media platform, the back end of it, and it involves some heavy hitter names in the world of Christianity and evangelicalism in America. Lots of money, millions of dollars being poured in already, but once again, it alarmed me that the guy pushing for this, number one, didn't explain the technology. I mean, he admitted he's not a tech guy, so he doesn't know all the details of the technology. But then he was saying like, oh, we got people in the UN praying for us. We got people in the Israeli intelligence that are all on board, and people in the U.S. intelligence that are really making sure that, you know, this thing's going to take off. It's going to be huge, and we got to appeal to the billionaires that are part of the thing. And, it's just like, what are we doing here?
You're not Trump and make a new social media platform with it without it having connected into the whole intelligence infrastructure. It's the way to guarantee financial success. I know.
And so it's almost like now that they've garnered this huge following with the Trump presidency, they need, you know what it might be? It might be a way to galvanize the Q crowd. Because I mean the bottom line with the whole QAnon thing was that Trump is, you know, in charge of the whole thing, whether he's directly or indirectly or whatever. He's the one that's going to help us or save us out of this pedophile network and all that stuff. So it could be just a way to really transition all those people onto this new platform, and so they have their own little place that won't be censored on Twitter or whatever.
Right.
Although, to my understanding, this new platform will allow dissenters or liberal types to come on there to debate or whatever. They're not going to cancel them, you know. That's going to be the big thing. Like, you can come on here, you can say what you want, we won't cancel you, like Twitter canceled conservatives or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's actually, as far as an intelligence agency perspective, that's the best way to do it. You don't want to cancel anybody,
right?
Because you want everybody on there. You want them saying all the crazy stuff they're gonna say, because it's all data.
Yeah. They want all the data they can get. Yeah. So just keep an eye on this. But again, from what I know, I'm still questioning what this exactly is infrastructure-wise and the tech stack and all that stuff. So,
it's interesting because it's a proven model, proven by the private sector, whether it be Facebook or whoever, and it's just a matter of time before that gets taken advantage of, even more than it already has. Not even to say that it's better or worse than the private sector taking advantage of it, but that's just how it works. Yeah. All right. Well, on the topic of Orange Man, I got something here for you.
Okay.
From the National Review headline, Trump says he'll probably visit border over the next couple of weeks.
He's still president.
Former President Trump said Saturday that he will likely visit the southern border, quote, over the next couple of weeks to get a firsthand look at the worsening border crisis created by a surge of migrants entering the U.S. You know, we didn't play the clip, but did you see the clip of Kamala when she was asked if she was going to visit the border?
Oh, she said, not today.
She laughed, Not today. It's like,
like that's, I don't know. That
she's got this thing. I mean, she's got this nervous laugh that she cannot help, and she tries to play it off as like an endearing, like, my millennials. We're all just having fun.
You know,
but she comes off as a real psycho.
As bad as it is with the Biden presidency of just, you know, senile old man not knowing what's going on, it's going to be way worse when Kamala takes over.
Totally. When Trump said during an interview on Fox News Justice with Judge Jeanine that, quote, a lot of people want him to visit the border. Quote, the Border Patrol and all of the people of ICE, they want me to go, Trump said, referring to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Quote, I really feel I sort of owe it to them. They're great people. Asked when he planned the people. It's kind of weird. Like, what benefit could come from him visiting the border?
He's still the president, bro. Still the president, man.
Okay, you're right. Asked when he planned to visit, Trump said probably, quote, over the next couple of weeks. Quote, continues, Border Patrol wants me to go probably over the next couple of weeks. I don't think there's a rush for me to go. He's supposed to go and make the decisions. He's supposed to go and make the decisions.
Biden. He's talking
Trump
about Biden.
said, referring to President Biden. The former president added that he, quote, didn't want to set a schedule, though he maintained that he would likely travel to the border over the, quote, next... What the heck? This is a bad article.
It's gonna happen the next couple weeks. It's gonna be the next few weeks.
Three paragraphs they just re-quoted over the next few weeks.
Well, it was next couple weeks, and then it was the next few weeks. See, it's different. It's different. That's why they got to distinguish.
Inconsistent flip-flop. Trump's comments come amid a worsening crisis at the border as officials struggle to keep up with an influx of migrants, especially unaccompanied minors at the border. As of Thursday, there were more than 18,000 unaccompanied minors in border protection. That is so many people. And that is way more than there was a week ago. Yeah. It was 3,500 at first. Now we're up to 18,000.
Yeah, well, they wanted Joe Biden, nice guy.
Yeah, Joe Biden's a nice guy.
Yeah.
The increase has caused delays at processing centers that are required by law to transfer children to HHS shelters in under 72 hours.
You know, I was kind of thinking about this too. Sorry to interrupt you, but just kind of, I was thinking about it. These kids that are out there, you know, they're traveling from Honduras and all this kind of stuff, and they're literally just walking, allegedly, these kids traveling thousands of miles. Mm-hmm. And it's like, isn't that way more dangerous than them being in a kind of health and human service custody, even though it's like not great conditions? Isn't that a better situation for these kids than being out in the wild, like walking, not knowing like who or where or what?
I guess
people they're going to come in contact with.
That's what Kamala wants us to think.
Is it? Is that what you want us to think?
Are they safer in government custody than out wandering the wilderness?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess. It depends.
Well, it depends on what you think of the government and what they're going to do with the kids.
Yeah, it depends what's going on in the government, because it says here, photos reveal children sleeping on the ground on mats and migrants crowded into, not cages, not containers, enclosed pods.
Right.
We've got children in not just pods, enclosed pods. Yeah. After the visit, I did skip something here, but it was about Republicans visiting. Biden official had asked the senators to delete photos they had taken of the facility, which is operating at 700% capacity. Oof. That's interesting. Biden calling up these Republican senators like, hey, delete this photo. Don't post this photo.
Come on, man.
Wow.
Hit the delete button, man.
After the visit, Braun wrote a letter to the president urging him to visit the border himself. Quote, the crisis surrounding this surge makes it a moral imperative for you to see firsthand what is happening, and not the sanitized version of the border tour taken by some of my congressional colleagues, Braun wrote. Quote, having personally gone this week, I can testify to this being an inhumane, unsustainable, and dangerous situation. And as we reported on last week, or 2 weeks ago now, when these facilities get too packed, like this one's at 700 capacity, they're just loading these kids up in buses and shipping them off to FEMA camps in the interior of the country. So there you go. We'll see if Trump actually goes. I don't know what this guy's up to, but hey, they really want him to go.
Virtue signal, man. It's all messaging, especially if he's going to run in 24.
I mean, that's an interesting thing. It's a political move.
Yeah, especially if he's going to run in 24. You know, he's got to get ahead of stories or issues like this one. This one's always a hot topic for during the campaign. And so if he's done some things during his break period, then he might have more political weight.
Period.
Yeah,
his presidential hiatus.
Yeah, his sabbatical, his presidential sabbatical. Okay, so yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on Trump. And just real briefly, a couple more stories before we wrap this one. This one's a QAnon story.
Q the miserable, Q the desperate. What must I do to convince you people? You're right, Q.
This is Yahoo News, your favorite outlet, Basil. republishing a Business Insider article. Former Moonies cult members are working with families of QAnon believers to help their loved ones get a grip on reality.
Whoa.
Get a grip on reality, people. Diane Ben-Scoter can empathize with many of the QAnon believers who stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. As a former member of the Unification Church, a religious cult whose members are commonly known as the Moonies, Ben-Scoter knows what it feels like to be completely fixated on a common belief. Quote, I know about the righteousness you feel when you believe you're on the right side of history, Ben-Scoter told Insider. Quote, and the camaraderie you feel with the community you're part of. But while she can relate to the mentality of the Capitol mob that day, Ben-Scoter also knows what it's like to come out on the other side. As a young woman, Ben-Scoter spent 5 years in the Unification Church, but left in 1979 after her increasingly desperate family arranged to have her deprogrammed. Ooh. Reflecting on this time, Ben-Scoter said she is all too familiar with the, quote, shame and indignation that a person experiences when they leave a cult. This led her to set up a nonprofit called Antidote, which runs support groups for people who have been engrossed in cultic ideologies and are trying to reconnect to reality. In recent months, I'm sorry, but this is almost kind of like, not that the Moonies cult thing is, it's obviously was a cult, but the way they make it sound like reconnect to reality, it's almost like put you back to sleep, back to normie status.
Yeah.
In recent months, and especially since the Capitol riot on January 6, Ben-Scoter has become the last hope for relatives of people lost to the QAnon delusion. Her work has become as prevalent as ever, according to a recent Ipsos poll. More than 40% of Americans say they believe the deep state. Or what, they believe a deep state? What do you mean? Like
that they believe keep going.
Believe the deep state exists. A term used by QAnon and their conspiracy theories is actively working to undermine former President Donald Trump. Around 17% of participants say they think that, quote, a group of Satan-worshipping elites who run a child sex ring are trying to control our politics and media. Another core belief of the discredited conspiracy theory.
Again, the discredited.
You don't have to
again,
be...
it's hard.
Yeah.
No, careful, because you're going to end up getting tagged for defending Q specifically.
Well, this is what they
do. They jumble up. They'll take one specific little part of a conspiracy theory and then generalize it to the entire group, or they'll do it in the opposite direction, take Q and apply whatever little conspiracy theory they want to it.
Right.
We know this. They don't.
It mentions how the QAnon conspiracy theory has seeped into all corners of society and as a result has ripped apart families, devastated friendships, and broken up romantic partners.
What? Like, broken up romantic partners? Like... Okay, I mean, a lot of things break up romantic partners. DC versus Marvel breaks up romantic partners. Okay.
Yeah. Canary Cry News Talk or Natural News can break up marriages.
Yeah, we may have broken up a romantic partner right there.
Ben-Scoter told Insider that her inbox has been flooded with around 100 new emails a day. Most of them are from concerned family members of QAnon followers who are desperate to build bridges. While there's no quick fix, Ben-Scoter said she is able to give people the tools to, quote, begin to break down barriers so that they can be more effective in helping their radicalized loved ones get to the point where they might consider the possibility that they've been taken advantage of or lied to, she said. You know, people can wake up from the QAnon thing and still believe some of the core sort of conspiratorial topics.
Right. Well, it's an interesting comparison to like religion.
Yeah.
Because you can be in a very specific like denomination of Christianity. Say you're a Baptist and you're a hardcore Baptist and everything. But later on in life, you kind of realize, oh, well, maybe I don't need to necessarily be a hardcore Baptist. Maybe I'm a little bit, depending on how hardcore of a Baptist you are, you're like, oh, I think it's okay that that you play a guitar in church. So I guess that doesn't technically make me a hardcore Baptist. But you can maintain beliefs like in Jesus and things like that.
Right.
You know, I don't know. It's just the black and white mentality of like you're either Q and completely crazy and believe every single thing, or you're a regular good person,
right?
And don't believe any of it.
Yeah,
and believe your CNN.
Get them out of the cult of QAnon and into the cult of reality, quote unquote.
Yeah, right.
All right, so I mean that's pretty much it. I don't need to finish the article here.
Well, I think it's pretty interesting, actually. Oh, it is. There's only a few more.
Okay, all right. Which part?
Unless there's any, because it goes into the cult of Trump.
Yeah.
Trying to get people out of the cult of Trump. I don't know. I find it fascinating, but there might not be more of a conversation to have. I guess. Well, there's a hashtag.
Yeah,
I got out.
She launched a hashtag. I got out.
Yeah. Well, you know what? May I just cruise through this? I'll just go through it real quick because I think it is, again, I'm not saying I agree with everything in this article, but I think it's relevant considering, you know, the Q thing and people's attachments to it and stuff like that. Another former Moonie, Dr. Stephen Hassan, a mental health counselor and author of The Cult of Trump, has made educating people about mind control his life's work after he left the Unification Church in the 1970s. He told Insider he too has witnessed a dramatic increase of interest in his work ever since QAnon. Like Ben Scooter, Hassan believes it's important to not stigmatize those who have fallen prey to disinformation. It sounds like a lot of mainstream people could listen to this guy. Quote, the public tends to blame the victim when trying to understand why they get involved with unhealthy cult groups, and they believe people are weak or stupid or something's wrong with them, said Hassan. Quote, when really it's more of a case of they were lied to and were incrementally influenced to adopt certain beliefs and behaviors. And that, in a sense, is not their fault. Hassan recently launched a hashtag campaign, hashtag I got out, which he hopes will make it easier for QAnon followers to seek help. Leaving a cult is by no means easy, he said, but it's possible.
Hold on.
Yeah.
QAnon, in the classic definition of a cult, QAnon is not a cult.
I think some cult researchers would disagree with you.
I don't know, because usually it's kind of I don't know, because there's not like an organization of QAnon. I mean, I guess there are people that have started it, but...
So as far as the researchers are concerned, you know, again, trying to turn cults into a science is not an easy thing. It's kind of a subjective thing.
Sure.
But there's like a very specific definition, which is like, I forget what they all are, but there's very specific thresholds to reach on whether you're a cult or not. One of them is, inclusion is based on like complete adherence to a belief, to a certain set of beliefs. And if you stray at all, you're like shunned. And I could definitely see that with QAnon stuff, you know. If you don't latch on to every single little detail that was getting put out, then like, oh, you're not a real QAnon person. You're hypnotized. You're mind controlled. And it's like you can believe 99% of the same thing, but that 1% makes you an outsider. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if that's the most important part of this.
No,
but.
I'm just kind of thinking because the way they make it sound. When they compared it to the Moonies or to Scientology or to, you know what I mean? There's a lot more organization going on with those types of institutions, but just something I just noticed. But go on.
Right. Yeah. And cults, and you're right, to your point. I believe one of the thresholds for is it a cult is there needs to be a charismatic leader who has ultimate control.
Sure, and that's a little more nebulous than, I mean, Trump is that figure, but it's not
what I think
directly.
They want to say is that Trump, or like a Michael Flynn or Linwood or something.
The other reason why I thought of that is because leaving the cult of Q, there aren't like consequences other than maybe really hardcore QAnon people coming after you and saying you're a shill or something like that.
Yeah.
There's not like...
which we've experienced.
I know we have, but I'm just saying there's not like if you leave, for example, some of the religious sects. They destroy your life. Like, people destroy all your, just, I don't know. It's just a little bit different, but I can see how, Scientology.
Yeah,
or,
I hear you. I don't know.
Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, this is just these cult researchers researching Q. So, leaving cult is by no means easy, he said, but it is possible. For him, that moment came when he woke up as he was driving into the back of a trailer truck after he had been deprived of sleep for days. The almost fatal accident put him away from the group for 3 weeks, which led him to reach out to his family and then who then organized an intervention. This is talking about that's weird. They kind of go from his hashtag I got out and then start telling his story of the Moonies. But Hassan is hopeful that other family members can also help those who have been lost to QAnon, but believes it is ultimately up to the person themselves to leave. I think I am agreeing with you more and more. Like, just because you believe QAnon stuff that you find on a forum doesn't mean that there's like a structure of control around you.
Yeah.
There's nobody like keeping tabs on you to make sure that you stay. Quote, family members can help, the media can help, but in the end, I think people almost always get themselves out of cults, not because someone pushing them, but because they realize with time that this isn't what they thought it was. Quote, in the meantime, I'm encouraging family members and friends to get educated about cults and how to talk effectively and strategically with people involved in these groups and engage with them with love and respect and curiosity and asking questions in a non-confrontational way. Yeah. So in the meantime, I'm encouraging people to buy my books.
I'm the love doctor of getting people out of cults.
You're right. Maybe that wasn't as useful as I thought it was going to be, but very interesting nonetheless.
Yeah. And by the way, I did watch the South Park with a Q.
Oh, you did?
I watched the episode, and it was interesting. It's fascinating how number one, they're able to layer their messaging because they don't confirm or deny the claims of QAnon. They do a very clever job.
They walk the line.
Yeah, they did a very clever job of sort of almost like they almost agreed with the whole, hey, there's some weird satanic pedophile people running Hollywood, without being outright like, hey, we're pro QAnon or we're like super anti. It's well done. Well done.
So they didn't really like make a point of trying to disprove or prove anything.
No, not really. But they did appeal to the idea that there's somebody, the elite, control, the world or whatever. And in the universe of South Park, it's the editors and producer, the editors of the show that control it.
Kind of meta.
Yeah, there was a meta messaging going on. So it was well done, other than the references to
Somebody's asking how they can watch South Park Q. Isn't it on HBO?
I don't know if it's on HBO. I saw mine on the YouTube TV or something like that, but I don't have cable TV, so that's I use some.
I
of those
believe
other
it
apps.
is on HBO.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, anyway, it is a little not safe for work, not safe for children. I'll say that.
Not safe for adults. Not safe.
Some adults, you may be offended by some of the imagery there, but
what by South Park?
All right, one more, and we got to get out of here. I'm running late here.
Artificial intelligence.
MarkTechPost.com. MarkTechPost.com. This California-based startup is utilizing artificial intelligence to block background noises in the conference calls in real time. And there's a reason I wanted to talk about this real quick.
Okay.
Crisp, with a K, is a startup based in Berkeley, California that uses artificial intelligence to mute the background voices during either calls or recordings. It makes remote working and calling more professional and productive by ensuring a smooth flow without any background disturbance in the form of voice echo, both acoustic and room, barking dogs, traffic noises, keyboard clicking, etc. In the recent Series A funding round, this organization raised $9 million, taking the total funding to around $17.5 million. The raised capital will be utilized to refine product development, bringing more people on board the organization and increase products' reach and ability. CRISP was established in 2017 by Artavavs Minassian and David Bagdasarian, and the primary technology centers around deep neural networks, DNN. The algorithm designed uses a data set of more than 10,000 distinct noises and 3,000 human voices from all spectrums of age, gender, and ethnicity to have a fully functioning software. CRISP works with more than 1,000 apps like Zoom, Google Meet, Cisco WebEx, and is available for Microsoft as well as Mac. With the help of voice and audio technologies, this software enhances the quality of the call and mutes voices of the conference call bidirectionally. Moreover, it can be paired with any microphone or headset and does not need certain specifications. The organization's main aim is to help remote workers communicate efficiently, yada, 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 yada. There's a private mode, all background noises are stopped. There's a conference call mode, and other voices in the call are allowed. And I wanted to bring this up because there's a thing called a noise gate, Basil. You know, as a tech, I'm an audiophile. There's a technology piece called a noise gate.
Yes.
And it is not a very sophisticated technology.
No.
But why don't we just use a noise gate? Why do we need
AI?
Why do we need AI and some bank of data set of voices? And I don't know, man. I feel like
that's interesting, because this sounds like a good reason for them to gobble up all of your conversations and process them with AI.
Yeah.
And categorize them and put them in your permanent file.
Yeah, and raise $9 million. Of venture capital
that's
money.
Always a part of it too.
But are they really doing that, or are they just like, let's just put a noise gate on and say that we have a database filled with, whatever, and then we'll raise $9 million? Well, I feel like we could have come up with this.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is. It's, this is not a technology that needed. The technology already exists. Most chat programs have their own built-in noise gate, but you can raise some money by saying, putting AI buzzword on it, raise some money, and then monetize it by, having a database full of the conversations that you just happen to have to process with your AI, and then use it for monetization purposes. It's a great money-making scheme.
I know. It's something I feel like we should have thought of, because it just seems so obvious.
Yeah.
But, these guys got to it. But yeah, it bothered me. I'm like, why even, other than more data collection on everything we do online, what's the purpose of this? Really?
Yeah, you're right. There is no purpose. No purpose at all.
There's no purpose.
Except for the dark machinations of the beast system.
Yeah. All right, on that note.
All right, let's get you out of here.
Okay.
All right, folks, thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. We're going to be circling back around, hopefully, on Wednesday. That's March 31st.
Circle back, but I'll have to circle back.
That's right. And you know what that means? It means we're going to need some producers for that episode. I do want to thank today's producers of episode 317. That includes producers Marcelino, producer Raymond, producer Malik, producer Shield Labs, producer Cherie, and of course Jade Bouncerson for the timestamps, and all of our wonderful artists and jingle makers there. So thank you guys so much for making this episode 317 possible. We couldn't do it without you, and congratulations for breaking the shackles of your programming, your lifelong programming of relying on corporate entities to pay for your media. We should get a little badge that says I broke free of the corporate shackles.
Hashtag I broke free.
Yeah, I got out. Yeah, talk about a cult, the cult of thinking that media should be free and let advertisers brainwash you for it. That's a cult.
Yeah.
And if you want to join the illustrious group of producers of Canary Cry News Talk, there's a few ways you can do it. You can head on over to patreon.com/CCNT. It's patreon.com/CCNT. Or if you don't like Patreon, that's okay. Head on over to canarycryradio.com/support.
canarycryradio.com/support. Are you even woke?
Are you even woke, Gons? Yeah, I think next episode 318 will be our hashtag I got out of advertising. So any producers that produce next episode, you will get an official hashtag I got out call out. Yeah, so there you go. canarycryradio.com/support. You can join a monthly producership to help lay down a firm foundation for the show. We thank all of our monthly producers for that. Or you can make a one-time producership in any amount you want. There's cryptocurrency. We haven't got a crypto producer anytime soon. So if you're a crypto guy, come on now. But if supporting the show financially is not in the cards for you, that is totally fine. There's plenty of ways to become a producer of the show. You can create art, you can create jingles, create music, make it for the show, by the show, in the show, around the show.
You're just rambling now.
Quantumly entangled with the show, and we'd love to feature it on the show. Also, remember to leave ratings and reviews. It's very important. We'll be reading ratings and reviews later on in the week. We just got a great one yesterday. But if you're out there and you haven't left a rating and a review, this is an awesome way to help the show. It helps more than we could even explain to you. But it wakes up normies, folks. You may think it's just like a fun thing, and it is. But every rating and review is one step closer to waking up a normie. So do your job and go to Apple Podcasts, search for Canary Cry News Talk, leave a rating and a review. We'll be reading those later. Also, let's see, we did that. Oh, but you got friends, you got family who are starting to wake up to the fact that the world is not what it seems. You know, it's a weird time. Go ahead and share an episode on your social media, share it out on your email list, whatever the case may be. Or go ahead and just send it directly to your friends or family. They might be on a journey exploring all the ways that they've been lied to. And I think we're a pretty friendly transitional piece of media for them. So go ahead and share it with them. We call it rattling cages. And if you need any more instructions, here's what you do. You walk right up to them, you grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages.
Hey, stop that!
You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy.
Leave the bird alone!
Never! Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. All right, folks. Gons, any last words?
Just remember, Job 40, verse 6, the Lord answered out of a whirlwind.
Ooh. We got to put up some wind turbines. All right, everybody. Again, we'll be circling back on March 31st. That's this Wednesday, so make sure not to miss it. And thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
This guy comes to my house. He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies and melt those babies into candles, their skin, and that's supposed to give them more demonic power. And these Satanists came to my house, 5 of them, and threatened my life.
You can't handle the truth.
Shoo, hallelujah.
I'll keep you warm and safe in my people's zoo.
They are scum.
It will kill.
Aliens. Aliens.
Everybody loves waffles.
Aliens.
Everybody loves waffles.
Hold it.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram.
I want to shake things up, shake things up. I want to shake things up, shake things up.
Leave the bird alone.
I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Fun fact, I believe it was another fun fact. Fun fact. Another fun fact.
Brings me back to my Screamo days.
In the future, humans will be confined in a people's zoo.
People, I'll keep you safe and warm in my people's zoo. I'll keep you safe and warm now in my people's zoo. You and you in my people's zoo. I'll keep the cameras on.